efforts were well needed last night. Panthers got off to a fast start and didn't look back. I was so happy when I was listening on the way up to the Onside Zone with Big O and with Tito. I'm so glad Tito gave the credit deserved to Sergei Bobrovsky. Listen, Tito, these people down here that talk a lot of shit. You know, I make $10 million per season, so, you know, people like to run their mouth. Oh, Sergei not make enough save. Sergei not play well enough. First year in Panther uniform, he get the money, he not perform. What does Sergei do now? Sergei Bobrovsky stopping shot, my friend, left and right. This is not like being back home in growing up in Soviet Russia. Had to wait long lines for food, long line for health care. Now, this is America. This is South Florida. Sergei Bobrovsky get in net. Yeah. He stopped shot.
I just want you to get the correct praise you deserve, Sergei, all right? That's why I'm here for you, all right?
He's now tied for 7th in the National Hockey League for goalies in wins with 14. 14 dubs for Bob. Stopped 35 of 36 shots last night against the Red Wings. They were the Dead Wings, thanks to Bobrovsky making all these saves.
Oh, bingo. Got him.
A .972 save percentage for Bob. So I'm really thrilled with Panthers hockey, and it helped the Panthers that the Carolina picked up an L last night. So last night was, you know, injuries aside, because it's like every game there's something else. Every game there's something else. You know, the really awful injury with Ekblad, and now Anthony Duclair is going to miss time. You know, we were lucky early in the year. The Panthers were, you know, lucky is maybe the wrong word. Fortunate. Fortunate is a better word. They were fortunate to avoid the serious injury bug early on in the season, and now it's hitting the Panthers a little bit. But if they can keep doing what they did last night, despite not having all hands on deck, and they can grind out victories and get good goaltending, whether it's Bobrovsky or Chris Drieger in net, they're both capable of doing an excellent job, and they're both in excellent form lately. So, you know, we're talking about all these really, really tough hockey players picking up injuries and having to miss time. Tito, what is going on with our boy Oladipo? Now, a listener of ours, and I love this dude, Vero Beach Finns fan, every time Oladipo misses a game now since he's arrived, he sends me a tweet that says, I'm selling game-worn Oladipo uniforms, which are coats. They're suit jackets, right? Because they're not basketball jersey. He's selling sport coats, like game-worn Victor Oladipo uniforms. Is there a grand conspiracy here? So he's going to miss, what will this be, the third consecutive game he's missed since arriving with the Miami Heat, and he's out with a quote-unquote head cold?
So I don't count the day of game where the
Oh, that's true. Yeah, yeah. He wouldn't have played then anyway.
Can't catch a flight that quickly.
No, that's true.
But there would be 2, but yes, it seems like he's not even in Indiana. He's here in Miami
with a head cold.
With a head cold. Yeah.
Head cold.
Yeah. I mean, hey, you know, guy, like I said, you when you get traded to the Heat, you get one South Beach night. They go, hey, no questions asked. Do what you want. Don't get arrested. Don't get drugged. Go out there. It's spring break. Just saying.
Right.
Just saying.
Watch out for the roofies.
Watch out for the roofies. Go out there, have a fun time, and then we'll once you're ready to go. But you know, hey, South Beach gets everybody. Miami, the first night you're here as a tourist, it gets everybody.
So you're saying this is more of a hangover problem than something that
maybe.
Dake
I'm not claiming it is. I'm not saying it is, but can't rule it out. There's no evidence that it didn't happen.
There's no evidence that a lot of things didn't happen. I'm just telling the dude, if it really is a head cold or a hangover, man up. I got some stories for you, Tito. Let's take a walk down memory lane, okay? Ronnie Lott played through a crushed finger, and then he had his finger amputated because he thought that was a better idea, because then he could keep playing immediately rather than going through surgery and having to miss a long time for recovery from that surgery. Ronnie Lott was not missing games due to a damn head cold, okay? Does the name Shun Fujimoto mean anything to you?
I have no idea who that is.
It should. Shun Fujimoto helped Japan win the team gymnastics gold medal at the 1976 Olympics after breaking his kneecap. He competed on the rings with the injury. He helped them win the gold. This one should mean something to you, Tito. You're a big Manchester City fan, are you not?
Of course.
Who could forget Manchester City goalkeeper Bert Troutman in 1956?
Yeah, who could?
He won the FA Cup with a broken neck. A broken neck.
Yeah, that's that Manchester City passion right there. That's what I like to see.
Not a head cold, a broken neck. An acquaintance of mine, he retired a couple of years ago, but longtime professional mixed martial arts fighter Muhammad King Mo Lawal fought several times, Tito, with no ACL. He fought without an ACL in one of his knees. Just fought with no ACL. And I think he won the 2 fights that he fought without an ACL. This guy wasn't missing time with a head cold. Do you think, Tito, is there any chance that the head cold might be code for maybe Victor is not in Pat Riley's shape yet? Like maybe Victor is not he's not up to the heat conditioning standards.
I don't think it's out of the realm for sure. I think it's definitely possible. I mean, remember, like, when the Heat traded for Dwayne Wade to come back, I think Pat's first text was, hey, enjoy those pancakes for the last time because you got to get your ass in shape again. So, like, it's not inconceivable to think that, like, hey, Vic's got to cut down some weight. He was in Houston, and the barbecue there, fantastic.
I've heard that. Have you been to Houston? I've been to Dallas, and I had barbecue in Dallas.
Yeah,
which is, but it's probably not the same, right? Because Houston is like the actual barbecue town, whereas Dallas is maybe not as much, right?
I guess. I mean, it serves to say that I think probably your best bet is probably Houston is the better barbecue than Dallas, but I mean Dallas has In-N-Out. Houston doesn't.
Yeah, it's a good point.
We're I guess we're splitting hairs here, but like in terms of the barbecue discussion, yeah, I'd wager that Houston's probably better.
I've heard Austin also has a super strong barbecue game.
For sure, I can confirm that.
I've never been there. The only city in Texas I've been to was Dallas. I was there like 5 or 6 years ago for Big 12 Media Days.
I've been in Dallas twice, and one of them was probably the worst experience of my life.
What happened?
Yeah, LSU Miami game.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. That was really bad.
To watch Malik Rozier play quarterback, it was tough.
Yeah, the only time that I've only ever been to one Miami road game, and it was I'm gonna say circa 2007. I wasn't like specifically in town for this, but it turned into kind of a trip for that. I was in Atlanta, and I went to Miami versus Georgia Tech, and I think it was 2007. Kyle Wright was the quarterback. Miami had like a big lead in that game, and they ended up losing to Reggie Ball and to Calvin Johnson. And
I remember that game.
Yeah, it was such a disappointing experience because, like, I'm sitting in Bobby Dodd Stadium, with a bunch of Georgia Tech fans. I found Georgia Tech fans to be very lifeless. Like there wasn't a whole lot of trash talk. There wasn't a whole lot of passion. It seemed like a very subdued crowd. Like they were there just to look elegant and sit in the stands and be very polite. Like they're, it's not like the experience of like if you go watch Miami play at like Doak Campbell Stadium, you're going into the Lions' Den, right? They're, I've never been to this particular stadium, but back when Miami used to be in the Big East and you'd go play on the road at West Virginia, dude, they were infamous. The West Virginia Mountaineers fans, I always heard, the most savage road environment. Like those people would throw stuff at you. They would pelt the players with like flying objects, and they would curse at you. Like, I don't know. I don't know why I would expect something like that from Georgia Tech fans, because that's not even like, I'm sure the most supported college football team in Atlanta. It's got to be the Georgia Bulldogs, not the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. But I was at a Georgia Tech game, Tito, Miami Georgia Tech. We ended up losing the game, the Canes. And I was like trying to like pick fights with the crowd. Like I'm 22 years old at the time, so I'm a little crazy. Like I'm a lot more subdued now. And like I was trying to get into it with their fans, and they're just like, "Oh, you're from Miami? Oh, that's cool. It's nice and warm down there right now." This was in like November, so it was kind of cold in Atlanta. And then so what I did to like try to rile them up was because I was up there with a girl I was dating at the time who had some family in Atlanta. Like that's the reason why we were up there. and they were Georgia Tech fans, like her family there. And so in order to like play a prank on me, they gave me a gift, and it was a Georgia Tech sweatshirt.
Ah, funny.
Well, so here's how I turn that into my advantage, though. So I wear the Georgia Tech sweatshirt to the game, but I've got it on over a Miami jersey. And I did a little like cut on the collar of it so that I could rip it off. So I'm in the stands and I'm like high-fiving, like, yeah, Georgia Tech, we're gonna win the game. This is so cool. Yellow Jackets. And then the game kicks off, and I look at everybody like, you want to know who I am? And then I rip it off, and I'm wearing a Ken Dorsey throwback jersey underneath. But like nobody even cared. Like it was so disappointing.
Ah, cool, man.
I thought
nice.
they were gonna throw their drinks at me. They were just like, oh yeah, Miami guy, okay.
Ah, nice, awesome.
It was one of the most
man.
It's one of the most disappointing experiences of my life. I thought I was gonna really start something there, and they were just like, they were so nice and polite. Georgia Tech
LSU fans were a different experience. They were pretty rude.
I bet. I mean, they
Yeah.
have that reputation.
Yeah, they were pretty rude. They were pretty bad at math. The jokes they were making didn't really make any sense.
What jokes were they making that
They're
involved
like,
math?
I think one kid said something like, "Oh, you're a Miami fan. The last time you won a championship, you'd be able to buy a pack of cigarettes." And I was like, "It's that doesn't make sense." First off,
Yeah, you can still buy cigarettes.
I guess his joke was like, "You're 18 now,"
Oh.
but the math was off because if that was true, I'd be 17 and I still can't get cigarettes. So you're dumb. That's the reality of it. That kid was dumb. After the game, I just people barking at me and stuff, and just inebriated and upset Tito was not in a happy mood. To top it off, the reason that weekend really sucked, not even like the game sucked. I'm not even right. Let's get past that.
Terrible
right.
game, yeah.
The next day, I have a flight at like 4:00, and I made it a point that I was like, I'm in Dallas. I can get in and out before I leave. And my brother, who I was with, was in probably like the crankiest mood because of the game. And I was like, hey, like, we can make the 20-minute drive to get in and out. He's like, nah, man, I'm not in the mood for that.
What?
Yeah. And I was like, dude, it's worth it, man. Like,
he needed it to cheer him up.
Right. And that's what I was saying. The worst part about that, do you know what we settled for that day?
What?
We settled for Subway.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What do you do? You can get that anywhere.
Exactly. Right.
It's not great anywhere.
Yeah, literally. It is the bottom of the barrel in terms of any
It's
type
like a
of
last
food.
resort.
That was the cherry on top to the crap weekend.
Oh, that is terrible. Like you had to ditch your brother at that point. Like you should have just taken an Uber to In-N-Out Burger. Or just
I
like
probably
got
should have,
rid of
right?
him.
We couldn't confirm whether they were open or not. I think that was the biggest thing because it was Labor Day.
Oh, they were open.
They're open
Kidding?
on Labor Day?
In-N-Out on Labor Day? Yeah, of course. It's not Chick-fil-A. Like they don't just decide to
fair enough.
randomly close
Fair
on
enough.
certain days.
I should have gone. You're
They
not wrong.
guaranteed they would have been open.
I should have gone. That's one of my biggest regrets while I was there.
844-416-8123 is how you get at us on the text line. 844-416-8123. Oh, it's already started. Texter writes In-N-Out is trash. We knew that was coming, right? Like you can't bring up In-N-Out Burger without people coming out in droves either saying, oh, it's so awesome or it's trash. Most polarizing fast food restaurant on the planet. All right, we have a lot to come later this hour and throughout the next 3 hours. Thomas Rongan is going to join us at 3:30. I want to reveal to you how caught up I've gotten in a couple of pro days today. I know people try to tell me, don't overreact to 40 times, don't overreact to workouts, but dear God, we had some impressive performances today by at least one player who could be on the Miami Dolphins' radar at number 6 overall, all right? Keep it locked right here. You are listening to the only locally owned sports station in South Florida. We are OnSideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. Listen to OnSideRadio.com anywhere by downloading the MyTuner Radio app in your app store. Or go to MyTunerRadio.com on your web browser. OnSideRadio.com. South Florida sports leader.
Hello, Inter Miami CF fans. Download the Drink AR app and play inside a first-of-its-kind virtual soccer stadium, hosted by Bodega Trevento and Inter Miami CF, and celebrate your passion for soccer from the comfort of your own home. Find the download links on our Instagram account at Treventus and get our wines delivered straight to your home with a discount for all Inter Miami CF fans. Discover Trevento, a shared passion.
Let's raise a cup to the first among us who put themselves last. To the risk takers, the mask makers, the heroes on the front line and online. To the ones keeping shelves full and keeping us hopeful. To those who don't stop and those making all the stops. To the ones who pick up, suit up, and never let us down. From all of us at Dunkin' to all the heroes keeping everyone running, we thank you.
ADHD. It's the child who can't pay attention or sit still in school, right? The answer may be yes. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, or ADHD, can be complicated and it can last a lifetime. Up to 75% of children and adolescents with ADHD have at least one additional mental disorder that requires a comprehensive approach to treatment. Learn more at moretoadhd.com. This message brought to you in partnership with ADA, ACO, and CHAD.
Join the Inter Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station.
With Make-A-Wish, the impossible becomes possible. A girl battling cancer can become a race car driver battling the course. The boy showing all the nurses his fire trucks can take the helm of a real one. Wishes can give kids with critical illnesses the strength to keep fighting, get better, and grow up.
Where there's a wish, there's a way.
Wishes need you. Visit Make-A-Wish at wish.org.
Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yeah, I just logged on to YouTube, enjoying the live chat already. Ray Grullon was first. Actually, you know what? He said, I'm first in, yet he wasn't actually first in because Drew Boo said yo-yo before Ray sent his message. So I don't know how Ray thinks he was first in. You were second in at worst, Ray. He says, Pitts or Chase? Pitts or Chase? Great dilemma to be in. Either one would look awesome in a Finns uniform. Tito, correct me if I'm wrong, but Jamar Chase at the LSU Pro Day ran a 4.38 in the 40. Dude, I'm salivating.
Yep, same. And Kyle Pitts ran a 4.4. So
oh my God, I'm double salivating.
Yeah, I don't want slow players. I'm sorry. So Kyle, it's not fast enough for me.
Well, but he's a tight end though. I mean, is 4.40 at tight end?
Guy's got a piano strapped to his neck. That's how he's running.
Hold on. No, I'm asking you a serious question. It's funny though, but can't you argue that 4.40 as a tight end is more impressive than 4.38 as a wide receiver?
Oh yeah, 100%.
So Pitts actually comes out more freakish here.
Yeah,
than Jamar Chase does.
Considering the size and speed combo, 100%. I am more than content with either of those dudes. Like I am buying their jersey as soon as possible once they get there. Either of those dudes' names get called. But like. It goes to say something like this, right? Like, if the Dolphins want Pitts, right, what does that mean for a guy like Mike Gesicki? Versus if they want Chase, does it ensure Mike Gesicki is staying long-term? Like, that's my only question. Because, obviously, you can play both Gesicki and Pitts. But if Pitts shows you enough that, Gesicki's contract is a little hefty, and remember, you've got Jerome Baker's extension that you're going to have to work on.
Yep.
Raekwon Davis and Christian Wilkins are guys that are coming up down the line that will be extension-eligible players. Just saying. I mean, hey, the theater of the mind. I don't know how that last sentence for me makes any sense. But
It works because it's playing in your head like you're in a theater. Like it's just all the permutations and possibilities are churning in your mind. It works for me. Yeah. Listen, I kind of feel that with the way the tight end market is developing, and it's only going to blow up even more with the salary cap going up. What is it? 2 years from now, you gotta pay Gesicki. You're 2 years away from having to give him his money. He might end up being overpriced and overvalued at that point. So to have a younger, better, because Pitts is going to be better than Mike Gesicki. I'm sorry. I don't know if the Gesicki fanboys out there are offended by me saying that. And Gesicki is a good player, fine player, but Kyle Pitts, I think, is going to be a perennial Pro Bowler. He's going to be a very, very special player in the NFL. So, yeah, I mean, a couple of years from now, if the price tag gets too high for Gesicki, you've got his more than capable replacement. Oh, so 1 year.
Yeah, this would be Gesicki's last. 2021 is going to be Gesicki's last year on contract.
Yeah,
because they didn't take him the first round. He has a 4-year.
Yeah,
I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what he values himself at, right? Like, is he most certainly in the top 5 tight ends conversation? I don't know. I don't think so. But like, it begs the question even more: is if Pitts gives you similar production to Gesicki as a rookie, does that make Gesicki more expendable?
Yes, 100%. Absolutely. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt about that. Rosendo writes in, good afternoon, folks. My concern with drafting a wide receiver in the early part of the round is that this draft, if deep of that talent, is deep with that talent, but the tight end is a more rare commodity. Yeah, I mean, on the one hand, you rarely ever see tight ends go that high. I think Vernon Davis would have been like the last example of a tight end going that high in the draft when you talk about number 6 overall. So it's not a common thing. So you really have to decide whether Kyle Pitts is that special of a talent to go that high. I think he is. But obviously there are people above my pay grade who are, Chris Greer and his staff are really going to have to make that decision. But it is true that there's a lot more drop-off in this draft at the tight end position after Pitts than there is at the wide receiver position after Jamar Chase. So I think that is a fair and valid point. No question. Speaking of pro days, you know who rocked his? Justin Fields. Everything he touched turned to gold in his pro day. The 40 time, I forgot. Oh, man, I had it written down what his 40 time was. It was like maybe like a 4.48 or no, a 4.44. His 40-yard dash was a 4.44, which is pretty goddamn incredible. His throws were on point. Like you compare and contrast Justin Fields' pro day with the one that Mac Jones had yesterday, and it's night and day. It's the Whedon cut versus the Snyder cut. It is pretty illuminating, the differences in those pro days. Now, I'm not saying the Dolphins, get in the quarterback sweepstakes. They don't have a high enough pick to draft Justin Fields anyway. I'm fine with that. But, Tito, this would be my hope, and see if you can get aboard my thought process here. It would be incredible if the New York Jets take Zach Wilson at number 2, avoid Justin Fields, who goes maybe to San Francisco, and then Wilson ends up being a disappointment or a bust, and then Justin Fields, hopefully in another conference, far, far away from the AFC East, becomes a Hall of Fame quarterback. That would be the cherry on top if the Jets get the wrong guy. Now, you guys know I don't want to sound like a hypocrite because I was gushing about Zach Wilson's pro day late last week because he made one specific throw that went viral because it was one of the most impressive. And again, no pads, no hitting. This is a pro day, but still, the way he threw across his body 55 yards through the air and hit his receiver on a dime was so impressive. Like, even in a pro day, that's very difficult to do. But, one of the things, and I lean on people who watched a lot more BYU than I did. And if you've listened to our weekly guest who joins us Thursdays, he's going to be on with us tomorrow, Kyle Krabs from the Draft Network. He has studied these quarterbacks more than I have, Tito has, anybody listening probably combined. He has studied these quarterbacks so much. And what he's always said about Zach Wilson is that the talent is there. Like, the upside with Zach Wilson is, like, just based on upside, he could be basically neck and neck with Trevor Lawrence, just based on his upside. But he's got more bust potential than somebody like Justin Fields. So Kyle Krabs, and I'm going to ask him about this again tomorrow, since we've seen both of their pro days now and they're in the news again. I'm going to ask Kyle to kind of expand on his opinions on the two of these guys and if those have changed at all since the pro days. But he's told me now for months that he actually has Justin Fields as his second-rated quarterback in the draft. Like everyone else, he's got Trevor Lawrence at number 1, but he's got Fields, not Wilson, as his second-rated quarterback. And the reason why, he told me, is he thinks Wilson has more bust potential than Justin Fields. And, you know, Justin Fields turned a lot of heads with the pro day that he just had. I would love it if the New York Jets draft Wilson and he turns out to be the wrong guy and they let Justin Fields go off to the NFC West, I hope. You know, and I know that San Francisco has also been rumored, you know, to be interested in Mac Jones. I don't know if I believe that or not, because taking him at 3rd overall seems like a bit of a reach to me. So I'm going to assume San Francisco takes Justin Fields if the Jets take Zach Wilson, and I would love it. As a Dolphin fan and a Jets hater, I would love it if the Jets have the 2nd overall pick and they get this so wrong. That would be unbelievable. We're going to talk some football, World Cup qualifying, some Inter Miami with our very good friend Thomas Rongen, color analyst from Inter Miami CF Games here on Onside Radio. He's going to join us next. Hey, weeknights 6 to 7, catch Game Night with Michael Christian. Listen to the show that provides the smorgasbord that gamers love and sports fans desire. From breaking sports news to the latest in gaming culture, catch Game Night with Michael Christian from 6 to 7 exclusively at OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the man of the match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. Onside Radio, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. Listen to every Inter Miami CF match on your home for La Rosa Negra, OnsideRadio.com. Catch us every day on the MyTuner Radio app. If you missed Onside Zone with Big O, you missed.
Wasn't there another boy band like 98 Degrees or 99
American
Degrees?
pop and R&B vocal group consisting of 4 vocalists.
It is
Jeff Timmons, brothers Nick and Drew Lachey, and Justin. Yeah, Nick Lachey, that's right.
Nick Lachey. So it was 98 Degrees, right? There you go. How about that? Did you know I was the boy band expert, by the way?
Onside Zone with a Big O from 12 noon to 3 p.m. every weekday on OnsideRadio.com.
Join the Inter Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
Parents, we know we can't protect our kids from everything. Eventually, they're going to bump their heads or scrape their knees. But we can protect them from 6 types of cancer. HPV, or human papillomavirus, is a common preventable virus that can cause cancer later in life. The HPV vaccine prevents human papillomavirus and all the cancers it can cause. The American Cancer Society recommends getting your sons and daughters the HPV vaccine starting at age 9 to protect them later in life.
He has an overbite that makes him look like a cartoon character, a slightly crooked eye, and an uncommonly wrinkly neck. In the right light, he can look a little like a garden gnome, and he'll wear a bow tie just because. Sure, you might call him a little quirky, but that's exactly what makes him so perfect. Tuna is a 3-year-old Chihuahua Dachshund mix with more than 700,000 followers on Instagram, and it all started because he was adopted. You can't buy a best friend like Tuna, but you can adopt one. Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnsideRadio.com sports update.
Florida Panthers getting the victory last night. They defeated the Detroit Red Wings 4-1. Panthers now top at the tied of the Central Division with the Tampa Bay Lightning and Carolina Hurricanes with 50 points apiece. Panthers get another matchup with the Red Wings on Thursday. Puck drop slated for 7 p.m. p.m. Miami Heat taking on the Indiana Pacers on their road trip tonight in Indiana. Heat going as 1.5-point favorites. Goran Dragic listed as probable. Kendrick Nunn still listed as questionable. However, Victor Oladipo likely to not play as he did not travel with the team. With your On-Site Sports update, I'm Tito Bonacci. Coming up next, it's the Man of the Match with Alex Donno right here, OnSideRadio.com.
Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
You guys who listen to the show every day, you know that I'm maybe the only soccer fan who actually likes international breaks, because that seems to be the only time I ever win bets is on the international games. But all the teams I bet on are trolling me today. You're telling me Italy can't score against Lithuania, France can't score against Bosnia or Herzegovina? Kind of unfair they have to play against both countries at once, if you ask me. We can't get any goals from Albania against San Marino. This is freaking ridiculous. Maybe if I had taken advice from our next guest, I could have avoided such peril. Thomas Rongen joins us. He does an awesome job for CBS and, of course, here on the Inter Miami CF radio network as well. And, Coach, are you brushing up on your Italian? Because I see CBS is getting the rights to Serie A next year. Buonasera.
Ciao, bella. That's about it, but I'm trying. Yes, it's a 3-year deal, and we're taking over, which is great. Obviously, it's right in my backyard, close to the stadium where the CBS HQ headquarters are, where most of it's done. Champions League, Europa League, Brazilian First League, Argentina, CONCACAF qualifying, by the way, including US away games, with the exception of the Mexico game. And then Serie A for 3 years. That's a huge deal, obviously. And I was the first analyst, Donald, 5 years ago. Just by accident, I rolled into that because they had a sponsor for 5 shows. And then they said, no, let's keep them on.
Oh,
go
awesome.
forward. Literally 5 years ago, go forward. We had nothing, no content, no leagues. Look where they're at right now. Yes, CBS, Viacom, and obviously now Paramount Plus. They're doing a great job.
I mean, you got me, Coach, because the competitions, the 2 competitions I watch most are Serie A and Champions League. So you've got me. I cannot.
You're hooked, baby.
I'm hooked. I'm absolutely.
Just like I'm hooked to one radio, and you, Donno, and Big O, and all the guys. You're hooked, going my way. Okay, awesome. Welcome.
Now, like you always say, if you ain't Dutch, you ain't much. And I wanted to ask you about the Netherlands team, because when they played their first game of this break 7 or 8 days ago, they suffered kind of a surprising loss to Turkey. They've won their matchup since then, and Turkey probably a little bit better than we expected, because they went on in their next game to really dominate Norway and look really impressive. So I don't think we gave Turkey enough credit. Now, admittedly, Coach, I'm not that big of a Frank de Boer fan, but, how do you feel about the way this Netherlands team, your Netherlands team, responded to that tough loss against Turkey? And, what are you expecting from them in the Euros coming up in a couple months?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very tight group right now. And yesterday, 3 games were concluded. In some of the groups, there's games going on right now. I'm hoping that somebody scores a few goals for you, Donno. But you're right, Turkey at 7 points after 3 games. The Netherlands, Montenegro, and Norway all tied at 6 points. And as you know, only number 1 goes automatically to the World Cup. UEFA's got 13 entrants, 10 go automatically, 3 don't have to play playoffs in order to get the other 3 slots. So huge to come in first, at least second. And we responded well after that loss against Turkey. And Turkey, by the way, is a very good team, a team with some youth. Tufan, you got Yilmaz that scored a hat-trick, by the way. This plays for Lille up front. And then Frank de Boer has struggled with consistency when he's ever been there. And I think we're maybe a little bit overrated saying that. 2 convincing wins finally. Yes, it is against Gibraltar, but as you said, there's a few teams right now that can score against the Minnows and are 0-0 at the half as we talk. So now you're looking at a goal differential of 7 versus Turkey 5, for instance, and Montenegro 3. So at the end of the day, goal differential could be huge. And that return leg against Turkey at home is going to loom large as well. Don't forget about Haaland and Norway in that group too. But the teams are separating themselves a little bit in most groups. Belgium had a convincing win, 8-0 against Belarus yesterday. So they're in first place, obviously, in their group. Czech Republic in second. You look at Portugal and Serbia, who tied each other in the first match, both at 7 points. In their group as well, Luxembourg at 3, so that's a 2-horse race. And Ronaldo, 6 goals away from tying the all-time international goal-scoring record held by Ali Daei from Iran. So he's getting closer and closer.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about Cristiano Ronaldo, and people know I can be a little critical of the guy because he's such a narcissist. What did you make of him throwing the captain's armband on the ground last weekend? Now, I understand, of course, why he was angry, because he was legit robbed of a goal against Serbia. That ball went over the line. You know, they weren't using VAR or goal line technology, so the referee screwed it up. They had no way of correcting it. So I can understand being upset, but, you know, I do certainly see the side of it, though, where, you know, when you're wearing the captain's armband for your country and you throw such a fit and you throw your country's captain's armband on the ground, I personally thought that was a bad look. But I will defer to you because you've been a coach at very high levels, including the international level. How do you react when you see something like that?
It didn't sit well by me, to be quite frankly. You just mentioned some of the games that's so important. Representing your country first and foremost. Being the captain, that comes with responsibility, Donno. You know that. Being a leader through good and bad times, by the way. And you're disrespecting the game. You're disrespecting your own teammates, quite frankly, the opponents, and then clearly the referees. The emotional side of it, Donno, this could be the difference of going to the World Cup or not. So I have a little bit of empathy for Ronaldo at that particular moment when nobody knows this ball is over the line, yes or no. He does. We eventually see it in the replays. So I get it to a certain extent. El Pibe Valderrama playing for me. That did that once as well, and not as disrespect towards his teammates or the game, but also because he was very frustrated with the referees. We see Higuain acting up as well. A lot of times at those moments, those players, it's all about winning games and being robbed. The referee came out the next day and said, "I'm sorry, we made a mistake." Although I'm not a VAR fan, I mean, with these big games, why not at least goal line technology? That's crazy to me. But hey, the armband was found actually and then auctioned off to help a 6-year-old with financing her illness in spinal muscular atrophy. So at the end of the day, actually, it ended up being a good thing, I think.
That's true. I'm glad someone was able to turn that into a positive. That's right, because people like that, especially kids, deserve to get the care that they need. Thomas Rongen joins us here on Onside Radio. Before we move on, I wanted to ask you about Inter Miami, but one last thing on international tournaments. Now, the games happening today are World Cup qualifiers, but we do have the Euros coming up this summer, which I'm really excited for. And, I know that obviously on paper it's easy to argue that France are the team to beat. They're stacked with talent. They won the World Cup 3 years ago. I'm not sleeping on Belgium either, Coach. They seem to have a favorable group matchup, and they've really been peaking. You mentioned their 8-0 victory yesterday. I feel like this Euro might be Belgium's tournament. What do you think? Who's your favorite?
Those two guys are clear favorites without a doubt. But to me, the team to beat, the most in team form is Italy.
Yep, 24 unbeaten, Coach.
There you go, baby. 24 unbeaten, 19 wins, by the way. The record is 30. So after you and I cried 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago, when they didn't make it, because the Netherlands also didn't make it, Donno. So you and I.
And the USA, too.
Yeah, I know. We were just crying for days, actually. I think Mancini has done a great job. There's confidence. It's more free-flowing than on the Ventura. Yes, you're still relying on Bonucci and Cellini and Emerson. Donnarumma has proven out to be a legit, goalkeeper up front. A little inconsistent, but Insigne, Mobley, Belotti, Chiesa is coming through. But where he's made a huge difference, I think, and where the balance lays now in the engine is that midfield, if they're all fit, Jorginho, Verratti, and Barella, they've been absolutely brilliant, I think, for Mancini. And he's gotten some other players, obviously, that have contributed too. But to me, they are the team, the most informed team right now. If you go 24 undefeated, bring it on, baby.
Yeah,
so,
you're right, and they're certainly
I would put a little money.
Yeah.
Put a little money in Italy.
I like it, yeah, and they're not going to get too many 8-0 victories like Belgium, but they are incredibly hard to score against. And you're right, the midfield is really the strength of that team. That's dead on, and I hope they can make a run. I would love to see it.
We need a goal against Lithuania, man. We're 0-0 at the half. We need to get 3 points here.
I think they're sleeping, Coach. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know.
I don't know what's going on, but I wanted. I'm really excited because we're 19 days away now from opening up the season for Inter Miami, and every day I get goosebumps and I start the countdown because I get to sit. Every weekday, Coach, I get to sit up here in the stadium in our studios, and I look out at the seats and I look out at the stadium. So, what are your expectations for Inter Miami? Because we spoke last a few weeks ago, so we still. Not everything had come together at that point. We have a much better idea of what the squad looks like now. How you feeling heading into an April 18th game, against LA Galaxy?
Well, I mean, the makeover has been unbelievable, and sounds like it continues as well. So what Beckham has done by taking an active role, bringing in Chris Henderson, Phil Neville, moving Jason Kreis as the assistant, a guy with MLS experience. And then if you look at the potential 11 right now, just the 10 on the field is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, potentially 6 new players. So if we're talking about Kevin Leerdam, the right fullback, and either LGP or Figal is one of the center backs if Shawcrest is the starter. Kieran Gibbs will be there eventually, not at the start of the season, as your left fullback. Gregori, Pizarro, Matuidi in midfield. You needed that Brazilian flair, but also that work rate that Gregori brings. Jovan Jones potentially on your left side as a starter. Higuain and Lewis Morgan. All of a sudden, you're pushing 4 or 5 guys that we started quite a lot of games to the bench, which makes you also deeper.
Yeah.
And we don't know what Pellegrini and Garance have done in the preseason, for instance. What is the continuation of improvement, which I think will be the breakout player of the year for Inter Miami, Robbie Robinson, who I think can play, by the way. You got Federico Higuain coming off the bench helping you, and then you got depth with Yola, Nilas, obviously Brett Shea, quite a few guys that were starters last year that now are pushed towards the bench. And I'm not saying that this is the starting 11, but it looks pretty good. I had a good talk with Chris Henderson. I went to practice a few times, and they feel good about it. They also know, hey, we came in 10th last year. Only 7 teams make it out of conference into the playoffs this year, so no margin for error.
Yeah, I'm really liking some things that I'm hearing about Phil Neville, and obviously I know that in Major League Soccer he's not proven, he's not really that proven overall as a manager, but some things that I take some comfort in. He's really taken a heavy interest in helping a couple of our players recover, Coach. I mean, you mentioned Robbie Robinson, and everything I hear is that Neville has really taken an interest in Robbie and is really high on his game, and I think that's going to give him a lot of confidence. Yeah, I've also heard, and I'm getting this information from people who are closer to these practices than I am, but people are raving about Julian Carranza. So if Neville can find a way to really get the two of those guys to break out, I think we're in for a treat when it comes to scoring goals.
Huge. I agree with you, and that's an area obviously where we need to get better throughout in terms of the system, in terms of the way we want to play philosophically in general. The tactical adjustments are being made. The in-game management, I think Phil Neville will be doing. And as I said again, just positive. The way he talks about players, the way he injects Pizarro right now. He's a difference maker. I'm going to make sure he'll contribute. Higuain looks good. It's very positive, which it normally is in preseason as a new coach. I've been there and done that. The thing right now, what worries me is they don't get any preseason games, Donno. They had to leave I think it was Bradenton, IMG, coming back because of COVID situations. I'm not sure if it's the team or opponents or whatever. And they missed that first preseason game against Miami FC. There's 3 or 4 other ones lined up. And now you're talking about preparing your game with inter-squad games, so to speak. Try to eliminate an 11v11. And I've been there and done that as a player, as a coach. It's just not the same. So I hope that they, without any competition, let's be real honest, that they can come out of the gates firing, which I think they will emotionally. It's always good to have a few games under your belt against other opponents than just your teammates or your reserves.
Very well said, and great stuff here. You want to make sure you follow this man on Twitter. He's great on social media as well, at T. Rongen, analyst for CBS Sports HQ, BN Sports USA, and, of course, Inter Miami CF here on the radio on Onside Radio. Thomas Rongen, thank you so much, and I'll see you here in a couple weeks.
Take care, Donno.
Good stuff. Like he always says, if you ain't Dutch, you ain't much. I guess I'm not much because I'm not Dutch, but I want to see the Dutch national team do big things because when they're on, they're always fun to watch, man, historically. 844-416-8123. That's 844-416-8123. Bruce Arians did something that not too many men his age do, at least not for the first time. Sounds a little weird the way that I set that up, but I'll pay off the tease when we come back. Hey, Heat and NBA fans can catch Ira Winderman here exclusively at OnsideRadio.com with our Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat reports. Catch Ira throughout the week at OnsideRadio.com and when news breaks. Basketball fans know Onside Radio is the place to get the insight you need.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You're listening to the only sports station in South Florida that likes to take your calls. 888-441-4623. We connect with a South Florida sports fan because we are South Florida. Locally owned and operated. 888-441-4623. OnsideRadio.com. South Florida's home for real sports talk. You can connect with us at OnsideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnsideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan.
For over 20 years, Mr. Glass has been committed to the safety and satisfaction of our clients. Our products are the culmination of innovative engineering, aesthetic appeal, and the highest levels of quality. Through our legacy, Mr. Glass strives to impart the true meaning of quality, service, and sustainability to new generations. Reputation, experience, and trust is why clients choose Mr. Glass. Live the future now. Locate a dealer near you today.
At Baptist Health, we are ready
to serve, to treat,
to safely proceed with your procedure.
We're ready for ER visits and office visits
with skilled surgeons,
advanced medicine,
and multidisciplinary teams.
We're ready for new arrivals
and new recoveries.
We are ready.
We're ready to diagnose, treat, and manage
anything that comes our way
with exceptional care and comfort.
With the same preparedness and compassion you've come to expect from Baptist Health.
And we are ready.
We're ready.
We're ready
to care for you.
Can I get a captain?
Captain and what?
Captain and Ginger.
I can't hear you.
Captain and Ginger.
He was a captain and Ginger. Captain and Ginger. He was a captain and Ginger.
Captain Morgan, official partner of Major League Soccer.
Every Thursday, NBA fans can catch one of the best basketball shows in the country when Ethan Skolnick and Ira Winderman host Inside the Paint. Listen to two of the most knowledgeable and connected reporters in the business. Get year-round insight every Thursday at 10:30 a.m. with Inside the Paint on the home for hardcore basketball fans. OnsideRadio.com.
Big O for M&S Air Conditioning. You know, air quality in your home and business is more important than ever. That's why you've got to call M&S Air Conditioning and let them install a high-efficiency polarized air filter in your AC unit. Folks, it attracts, captures, and destroys biological contaminants to improve your air quality. With stellar customer service, answering your call from 7:30 a.m. till 9 o'clock p.m. For more info on high-efficiency air filters and their preventative maintenance plans, visit M&S Air Conditioning at ac-florida.com.
You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnSideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world.
Big news, Miami fans! Body Armor is proud to be the new official sports drink of Major League Soccer and Inter Miami CF. It doesn't matter if you're a player or a fan, Body Armor sports drink will hydrate you with potassium-packed electrolytes, antioxidants, and no artificial sweeteners, flavors, or dyes. Whether you're at home or in the starting lineup, Body Armor sports drink will hydrate you from kickoff to the final whistle. Body Armor, now the official sports drink of Inter Miami CF, available at your local Publix.
You're listening to the only sports station in South Florida that likes to take your calls. 888-441-4623. We connect with a South Florida sports fan because we are South Florida. Locally owned and operated. 888-441-4623. OnSideRadio.com. South Florida's home for real sports talk. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Huge thanks to Thomas Rongen for joining us and really just going around the world of football. There's a lot more we could have talked about. We didn't get much into Champions League, but we got a lot into the UEFA World Cup qualifiers. We got into Inter Miami in the end of it. So that was really good stuff from the coach. We'll probably have him on again in a couple weeks and dive deeper into MLS because, hell, we're 19 days away, 18 days away, actually, from the season starting. So that's going to be really, actually 17 days away from the MLS season starting, just 18 days away from Inter Miami starting. Well, Bruce Arians celebrated his Super Bowl victory by getting a Super Bowl 55 tattoo. Looks like he got it on, it was a very close-up photo, so you can't for sure see the body part. But I think it was on the left shoulder, upper back is what people are saying. Tito, he gets the Lombardi trophy with the Super Bowl 55 logo on top of it. Now, this is a 68-year-old man getting his first tattoo. Is that a little weird? I don't have any tattoos. I'm 36, and I have kind of thought that, like, maybe I'll get one. Like, I'm not, like, morally opposed to it or anything. I just, like, I haven't really ever decided, like, what I would want to get. But I don't know, Tito. I think if I reach, like, 45 and I haven't gotten a tattoo yet, then I just think it's no longer an option. Like, is there, like, a cutoff age for when you get your first tattoo?
40.
Okay, so you're saying I only have like 4 years left.
I guess, yeah. I mean, like, I think, yeah, I just think after that, like, what are you getting? I mean, maybe it's better you wait, right? Because, like, the thing that I've always said about tattoos is you can get, like, you know, a cute little tiger on your arm or shoulder, but by the time you're 40 or 50, turn into a giraffe, okay? It's turned into a giraffe.
Also, it's like, and okay, it's a little bit different because if you're one of those people who's covered in tattoos, then the individual tattoo of each of them matters less because it's like you're so covered, like nobody really pays attention to what you've got. It's how much you've got. But if you only have a few tattoos or like one or two it better be something really good and really important to you. I remember when I was a senior in high school, one of my friends, like, he just started getting tattoos when he was a senior. And I haven't seen this dude in 15 years, so I don't know if he's got, like, a sleeve now or what his deal is. But he ended up getting, like, 3 tattoos during our senior year. And this was 2003, okay? And one of the things that was really in then were those tribal tattoos. And he got, like, 3 of those. And 17 years later, 18 years later, I wonder if he feels like a doofus because, like, he wasn't getting, like, like I see, like I respect it. Like if somebody has a tattoo with like their child's name on it or something, or like some even a sports team. Like if you're that passionate about a sports team and you've got a U tattooed on you or a Dolphins logo, it's like respect, man. You're gonna be a fan of that team for the rest of your life. You'll probably never regret that. But I don't know. Sometimes people get a tattoo where it's something that's like in vogue right now. Like, oh, I'm gonna get a tribal tattoo, and then. Like you're not a member of any actual tribe.
Yeah,
so
just lame. Just very basic and lame in my opinion.
Absolutely. 844-416-8123. 4 o'clock hour coming up next here on Onside Radio. Hey, we would like to thank A Shade Above Window Fashions in Davie. So I'm looking right now at the beautiful shade that we have here in our studio window because we have this gigantic window that looks out into Inter Miami CF Stadium, and we needed shade, and A Shade Above really helped us out. They're in Davie. Their phone number is 954-434-4774. A Shade Above teamed up with Bandalux to personalize and create the Onside Radio shade that we have here in the beautiful pink and black. To order protection with style for your home or office like we did, call A Shade Above Window Fashions, 954-434-4774, or go to their website, ashadeaboveflorida.com. Love the space you live in. A Shade Above Window Fashions.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You're listening to the home of Inter Miami CF.
His strike is a decent one. It's fired into the top right corner. Gonzalo Higuain opens his account for Inter Miami.
OnsideRadio.com, where the passion for La Rosa Negra runs deep. You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. OnsideRadio.com knows gamers need a home.
Can you dig it?
That's why for the next 60 seconds,
Can you count, suckers?
here's your Onside Radio E-Report with Toast.
Monday was a sad day for Call of Duty players as the anticipated shutdown of third-party stat site SBMM Warzone occurred. Activision sent the creators of the site a cease and desist demanding the website be shut down, citing privacy concerns. The website used the Call of Duty API to obtain player data, then provide useful statistics to players, and organize Warzone lobbies into skill-based ranks so players could see the overall skill level of the lobby they just played in. Because Warzone doesn't have a ranking system, players had flocked to SBMM Warzone in a bid to better understand Call of Duty's mysterious, skill-based matchmaking system. And in most gamers' minds, that was the problem. They were doing a better job of providing a service than Activision was. Happy gaming.
Stay in touch in the world of gaming with the Onside Radio E-Report. You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno.
It's all yours. Just keep it right here.
You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yeah, 4 o'clock hour of Man of the Match with Alex Donno. I'm Alex Donno, and I'm with you here on OnsideRadio.com. Hey, remember, you can watch us live on YouTube. Just go to YouTube.com or the YouTube mobile app. Search for Onside Radio. You'll see the red button that says we're streaming live right now. And make sure you subscribe to our channel. Subscribe to Onside Radio. We're trying to get that subscriber count up. And if you watch us live, smash that like button. Smash that thumbs up button to get us as much exposure through the algorithm as possible. That's what they tell me. It helps the algorithm when you smash the like button. And you guys can participate in the live chat as well. We got the live chat going on YouTube. Mike No Go Zones is watching some UEFA World Cup qualifiers like I am. He says, Forza Italia, beat Lithuania. Finally got a goal a few minutes back. Stefano Sensi, my guy from Inter. And then Cito Immobile should have scored, bro. Mike, you tell your guy to wake up. Tell your guy to wake up. People are talking about Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians is living his best life. He deserves a wild night at a strip club, too. I kind of feel like he's already done that. I mean, he is in Tampa, right? I mean, it's Florida, which means pretty much everything is open. And he's in Tampa. So since the Super Bowl parade, which was almost 2 months ago, he's probably had at least 6 nights out at Mons Venus. It deserves it. Super Bowl winning coach gets his first bowl, gets his first chip at the age of 68. So I think that's absolutely fabulous. I'm very happy for the coach. You know, something I wanted to revisit here. We got the results of a poll question from yesterday. Tito Benach and I got into this later also with Alex Aguirre and with a couple of our guests. We got into a little bit of a vortex on Godzilla versus King Kong because that movie's coming. I'm incredibly excited for that. I hope it's better than Batman versus Superman, several years ago. But Godzilla versus King Kong, who wins in a 12-round fight, Godzilla or Kong? And rightfully so, Godzilla leads with 60.7% of the vote. Godzilla has a 60.7% lead versus Kong at 39.3%. The most important factors here, friends, the advantages that King Kong has, basically the reach advantage, because he has, long arms and Godzilla has tiny T-Rex style arms. He's able to climb. Godzilla is not able to climb. He's a little bit more mobile and athletic. But then Godzilla has nuclear breath. Godzilla, if he drags you into the seas, you're done. He can breathe underwater. King Kong can't. And he's a lot larger than Kong. He's got a big size advantage. So I don't think it's really much of a fight myself. So Godzilla leads 60.7% of the vote. And I'll tell you, nothing fires people up more than Godzilla versus King Kong talk as well. We have a caller on hold who wants to get into this. Tony from Jersey. What up, Tone?
Hi, Donno. How you doing? Big fan, first time, long time. I needed to get in on this conversation about King Kong versus Godzilla. The massacre that we're about to witness in the next 24 hours, it's going to be monumental. It's going to be absolutely monumental. First off, we need to acknowledge that Godzilla, he's got short arms, okay? He's got short arms. Back in Secaucus, we call the Zilla character the Italian cypress tree. You know why? Because they're an infamously tall tree with short branches. The guy got no arms. He won't be able to reach King Kong with all the might that he has. Also, we need to acknowledge that Godzilla is bottom heavy, like a 3/4 full pitcher of limoncello. This guy, he can't move right. He can't move right. Muhammad Ali once called George Foreman Frankenstein for his slow hands. That's like this if George Foreman had some short arms, Donna, you know what I'm talking about?
I do know what you're talking about.
So now, we could talk about all these guys that, the man being called God. Let's get into the conversation about being called God. This guy demands being called God. Seems like a little bit of an overcompensation to me, Dono. I don't know about you.
I hadn't even thought about King that, Kong, but you're not wrong.
See, King Kong was appointed the king. Godzilla, who called this guy God? Not me, not my family, not Secaucus, New Jersey. I'll tell you that much, okay? So on top of all this would be for naught. All this would not matter at all. It wouldn't even come close to mattering if it wasn't for the opponent, all right? King Kong is like if the power of Marciano met the bruiser mentality of Graziano, met the grace and debonair of a prime Sugar Ray or Muhammad Ali. The guy is graceful, he's long, he's lean, he's fast, he's got power. The guy cannot be stopped. Denzel Washington, a great actor. I once saw a movie, I believe it was called, Training Day. Yeah, Training Day was what it was called. Great movie. He once said that King Kong ain't, I'm going to save it for the radio, I don't want to get too cursy over here, this ain't Jersey, this ain't the street. But, he goes, King Kong ain't got nothing on me. There's a reason why the greats compare themselves to the greats. It's because they want to be great. They want to overcome the greats. King Kong is great. So in summary, Dono, okay, if you didn't take anything away from this, okay, I think that we're mixing up Godzilla with Gonzaga because Godzilla ain't no killer, okay?
Wow. Brilliant. Tony from Jersey. Wow. What a breakdown.
I appreciate it. I just get hyped up. Fighting is my life. I love the fight game. This is going to be a clash of the titans if a titan was fighting a mouse or something. King Kong all day. I'll take it anywhere inside of minus 5,000 count space.
Tony, thank you so much. That was brilliant. Oh, my God. Tony from Jersey. Tito, did he make you regret? Because I know we had a conversation about this yesterday, and we were both all in with Godzilla, and the winner of the poll was Godzilla in a kind of a landslide. I mean, 60%.
He's got me reconsidering things. Everything he said is absolutely true. He is bottom heavy. He
had me at bottle of limoncello.
Yeah.
That's when he had me. I'm like, oh my God, I made a terrible mistake voting on Godzilla.
Yeah, right? Like I keep telling people, don't doubt the king, man. I mean, he was, like he said, he was appointed king for a reason. Godzilla just got his name, I guess, self-donned,
Yeah. Whereas, and he's right, Denzel in Training Day said King Kong has nothing on me. He didn't even mention Godzilla. Wow, that was a call for the ages. That was fantastic from Tony in Jersey. I love it. Oh, man. I want to get in. We're going to talk some Florida Panthers later this hour with Dave Dwork at 4:30. You a little bit disappointed, Tito, that Pat Riley, he keeps taking L's in this buyout market. So DeMarcus Cousins isn't coming now. Where's he going? The Clippers? So he's not coming here, Boogie. And I've got Ira Winderman talking about Trevor Ariza is going to start at power forward. So Ira said, quote, the sense here is that the Heat will want to try to ride it out with Trevor Ariza at power forward until they get a definitive read on whether it works in the starting lineup, he wrote. So, Ariza about 6'8". He's averaging 6.2 points, 4.7 boards, 1.7 assists this year. So he might end up being the guy with the edge at the power forward. I think Ira said that the Heat are cutting in weight. They're cutting down in the size a little bit. So that's going to be interesting, man. I had and listen, I'm not going to complain about the Heat. They got a win the other night. It's going to be a little tough tonight in Indiana. No Victor Oladipo. He's out with head cold. He's got the head cold. He's going to miss the game for a head cold. Dayquil, anyone? But no, he's going to be out tonight with a head cold, Victor Oladipo. Indiana has embarrassed us twice this season. I want a little payback. I want a little payback against the Indiana Pacers. Like, this is a team that I've always loved beating in the playoffs. We swept them last year. During the Big Three era, they always got stuck matching up with the Heat, and we would embarrass those guys. We would eat their lunch. I enjoy beating the Indiana Pacers, and I hope the Heat can pull it together for their second straight win this evening. So, yeah, we've had ugly home, and I think both the losses we had against Indiana were both at home this year, so that was ugly. We've got to go into Bankers Life Fieldhouse and get it done and get a little revenge here tonight. Oh, man. 844-416-8123 is the number. That's 844-416-8123. Rosendo says, my gut feeling is that Atlanta might pull the move and draft Kyle Pitts, which means we will draft Chase. Listen, I wouldn't blame them if they did. I had kind of wondered if Atlanta might even be in the market for a quarterback, but if they were just to decide that they're so wowed by Kyle Pitts and he's special, they think he's going to be a Hall of Famer, I wouldn't be that shocked if they pulled the trigger on that. Rafa in Miami says, per Pro Football Talk, Pitts thinks Atlanta is interested in taking him. So there you go. Tito, you were giving me a good breakdown. I want to get your take on this before. In the next segment, Tito's going to make way and swap spots here with Alex Aguirre, who's going to take over for the rest of the show. What was it? You were listening to a podcast where they were breaking down San Francisco at number 3 and how they are incredibly enamored, Kyle Shanahan is, with Mac Jones, which is a little bit of a head-scratcher to me because in no way, shape, or form do I think Mac Jones is good enough that he should be getting drafted 3rd overall. Okay? In no universe is he good enough that he should be taken over a Justin Fields and taken that early in the draft. But why is it that San Francisco might think Mac Jones is a better fit for their offense than a Justin Fields or a Trey Lance at that spot?
Yeah, it was the Daniel Jeremiah Bucky Brooks podcast.
And they're good.
They're
man.
really
they're
good.
Really
man.
good.
And like you're saying, it seems like everything Daniel Jeremiah has heard points to the 49ers wanting to take Mac Jones. And it is telling that Kyle Shanahan was not at the BYU Pro Day. He was not at the Ohio State Pro Day.
Right.
He was at the Alabama Pro Day.
Right.
And so from what they could gather, it seems like Kyle really, really enjoyed his time in Atlanta with Matt Ryan, and that he sees similar kind of, prototype qualities with Mac Jones in terms of what they are as QBs. Now, the issue with that is I think there's a fair amount of questions about Mac Jones simultaneously.
Yeah.
Only started 17 career games, and the same questions that people posed with Tua about his surrounding cast, people are posing with Mac Jones.
In fact, Mac Jones probably had even better players
right.
surrounding him.
I mean, it's definitely a good argument to make that, Mac Jones had upright, stout offensive linemen keeping that pocket clean. Tua, to a degree, didn't have that. His injury was because he was escaping the pocket.
Yep.
So, for me, I kind of find I think they summed it up really well, which is Kyle Shanahan is comes from the Shanahan tree, which Sean McVay was with, right? And we just saw Sean McVay part ways with probably the most system QB in the NFL in Jared Goff.
Yeah, Jared Goff is a robot.
Right.
Do you know what Jared Goff was? He was Sean McVay's avatar.
Right.
Basically, Sean McVay just transferred his consciousness into Jared Goff's body and just ran the offense.
Right.
And not particularly well
And it
either.
seems like he wants to do that again with Mac Jones, but the issue with that is when you're putting such a small ceiling and such small margin of error, I guess you're increasing your margin of error. I don't even know how to word that, but
increasing.
For when you have guys like Justin Fields on the board, who what you just said, he just ran a 4.45, I think it was
4.44.
or 4.44. Right, a 40, and he's such an incredible athlete, and he's got a really, really nice physical build to him. He's got a shotgun arm. He threw 5 touchdowns against Clemson with a broken rib at halftime. I find it hard to justify giving up the capital you gave up to move to 3 and then take the guy who might have been available at 12.
That's what I'm saying. It's ridiculous.
So
you're right. I mean that was my take the other day. Now this was before the pro day, but I thought why would, because I started seeing Mac Jones turn up in mock drafts for San Francisco. I'm thinking, why would they trade up to number 3 to get him? They might have been able to get him at number 12, but maybe not, because quarterbacks sometimes get so overvalued. They might have thought that's the only way we ensure we get him.
And look, could it be smokescreen? It could be. This could be smokescreen. It is smokescreen season, Donno, right? I specifically remember hearing Chris Greer talk about how he didn't visit Missouri to see Charles Harris work out when they wanted him because they didn't want anybody on their set.
Maybe
for
if
Charles
he'd
Harris.
gone, he realized that guy sucks.
Yeah, exactly. Which
he should have gone.
He should have gone to see how bad he was. But the amount of noise of Mac Jones to San Francisco, it's going to be something to see Justin Fields, who led his team to the college football playoff twice, versus Mac Jones, who I guess did he lead Alabama to the college football playoff? I guess you could argue that, but I don't see how when you stack them up prospect to prospect, and you're looking for guys who have exceptional traits, you come away with Mac Jones as your answer.
It's crazy. 844-416-8123. That's 844-416-8123. Got a really high-stakes food question coming up next. Some of the responses to this actually triggered me. I see a lot of horrible things said on Twitter every single day, some really disgusting behavior, conspiracy theories, and yet nothing triggers me like people slandering pasta. I don't want to live in a world like this, man. If they're sending people to Mars to live, I'm going to volunteer. As long as I don't have internet over there and I can't connect with these losers back on planet Earth, I'm getting really sick of it. So a very high-stakes food question. Plus, I want to do some Canes talk this hour because Manny Diaz made a comment about spring practice that piqued my interest. You're listening to Man of the Match here on Onside Radio. Hey, Saturdays at 8 a.m., baseball fans can go deep into the count with Alex Aguirre and Christian Chase. Catch the show that talks Marlins and all the big stories in the major leagues. Every Saturday at 8 a.m., Seamheads have a new home. Listen to Deep Into the Count exclusively at OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You can connect with us at OnsideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnsideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. Get the brutal honesty every day with the Onside Zone with a big O from 12 noon to 3 p.m. every weekday on your home for sports talk in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com.
Hey Panthers fans, Dave Dwart here with some awesome news. Every Saturday, I'm going to bring you the latest on everything to do with the Florida Panthers with Chirping the Cats Radio. Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., we'll dive into the state of the team, recap games, and hear from past and present Panthers players, and plenty of other great hockey guests too. Got questions about the Panthers? Call or text the show and we'll break it down. Don't miss Chirping the Cats Radio, Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m. only on OnsideRadio.com.
He has an overbite that makes him look like a cartoon character, a slightly crooked eye, and an uncommonly wrinkly neck. In the right light, he can look a little like a garden gnome, and he'll wear a bow tie just because. Sure, you might call him a little quirky, but that's exactly what makes him so perfect. Tuna is a 3-year-old Chihuahua Dachshund mix with more than 700,000 followers on Instagram, and it all started because he was adopted. You can't buy a best friend like Tuna, but you can adopt one. Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
ADHD. It's the child who can't pay attention or sit still in school, right? The answer may be yes. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, or ADHD, can be complicated and it can last a lifetime. Living with a condition can sometimes be a challenge. It may take years to accept a formal diagnosis, and it's not always easy to find the right treatment plan. Did you know that up to 75% of children and adolescents with ADHD have at least one additional mental health condition that also requires a comprehensive approach to treatment? ADHD guidelines were recently updated to reflect the need to screen for associated disorders. Be sure to talk with your child's doctor about proper screening and visit moretoadhd.com for additional information. That's moretoadhd.com. This message has been brought to you in partnership with ADA, ACO, and CHAD.
Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
I saw this on Twitter, and this is dividing people more than it's uniting people. Our friends at Growing Up Italian, a few months back we had Sabino on from Growing Up Italian. We should bring him on again at some point because they're always stirring it up, man. They have these amazing food polls relating to Italian food. So they asked the question on Twitter, if you had to give up one of these Italian favorites, these foods, you have to give up one of these forever, what would it be? Pizza, pasta, Nutella, or a cannoli. Now, anybody who says they're giving up pizza or pasta is insane. Like, you should be in an institution. Like, you should never see the light of day again. Anyone who says they're giving up pizza or pasta. I had a couple of lunatics in my Twitter timeline saying that they don't need pizza, they would give it up. Are you high? I had one dude. Did you see this response that I got where this one guy, my blood pressure went up, and I nearly had a conniption reading this tweet. He said, pasta is trash. Why would anyone eat those empty carbs? Empty carbs? Does eating food for your enjoyment mean nothing to you? You're going to refer to pasta as empty carbs. Get the out of my time. I'm trying not to curse that bad. Like, there's certain words we do say. I don't know if I want to be the first guy on Onside Radio to drop an F-bomb, but I probably should have to describe this. You're telling me how could any? I won't be. Okay, all right. Still, the opportunity came and went there. But you're going to refer to pasta as empty carbs. Oh, tell me about this awesome kale and quinoa-based diet that you're on, bro, and how great you feel all the time. Eat shit, get out of my face. I don't want to, pasta, empty carbs. Like, come on, man. Empty carbs. You've clearly never had a real bolognese, a great carbonara, amatriciana. You're putting canned sauce on top of ramen noodles if you think pasta are empty carbs. It's an insult, an absolute insult. So no chance in hell I'm giving up pizza or pasta. They have to stay. So if you have to give up one of these, do you give up pizza, pasta, Nutella, or cannoli? Now, between the two of those that are left, because it's obviously got to be Nutella or cannoli, because I would die before I gave up pizza or pasta. I'm barely even exaggerating when I say that, okay? Now, maybe I'm popular, but between the last two, I would actually give up cannoli over Nutella. Like, Nutella, to me, you can put it on so many different things. It's so versatile. It's so delicious. Whereas cannoli, not even the best Italian dessert. And they don't really eat those outside of Sicily, in Italy. Obviously, over here, they have them at, like, every, like, Italian bakery. They have cannoli. But, like, over in the motherland, they don't really do cannoli much on the mainland. That's a very specific Sicilian thing. So it's not even that widespread of a dessert. Like, to me, the goat of Italian desserts is tiramisu. Like, that, as long as I get to keep that, I could actually give up cannoli before I could give up Nutella. What do you think about that list, Alex? If you had to give up one of these, pizza, pasta, please don't say one of those or I may throw you out the window here. Pizza, pasta, Nutella, or cannoli, what do you give up?
So pizza, pasta, cannoli, and Nutella?
Yeah.
Cannoli has to go then.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I'm sticking with that.
Yeah, and also like a lot of the places that do cannoli, if you get a really good one, it's fantastic. But
Right.
a lot of times, like the shell is like it's like kind of like soggy or stale. Like, so I don't know. Some places just, and I know you're gonna tell me, oh, you're not going to the right place. Yeah, but I mean, listen, okay, I've had cannoli all over this country, and sometimes they don't do them very well. It can be hit or miss. So yeah, out of those four, I'm giving up cannoli. I'm keeping Nutella. I'm obviously keeping pizza, and I'm keeping pasta. So that's the way that I go with that, man. Herman says, I give up Nutella. He also says, curse that guy, Alex. Go ahead. He deserves it. Do it. Curse, said Drew Boo. Yeah, I say the S word a lot. I just don't know. I don't want to. I don't want to cross the line here where I'm making the F-bomb a normal thing on the show, because then I'm dropping C words. Like it's a slippery slope. I don't know if I'm ready to escalate it that far, man. That guy is a loser. Empty carbs, writes Herman. Oh man. Yeah, no, another one. Drew Boo wrote in earlier about the NFL draft. He says, I'm not feeling Jamar Chase. I would rather get Sewell at that point or the Bama receivers. Yeah, I'm not really feeling Sewell, and it's not saying he isn't a generational tackle, but, you know, to me, the opportunity to get a truly generational wide receiver or tight end, I think would be a better proposition than getting a great tackle. Now, you know, the last time Miami drafted a generational tackle, he was actually more valuable to us in terms of rolling it over into future draft picks in Laramie Tunsil than he ever was on the field for us. You know, when they drafted Jake Long, what did that do for us? When we drafted Jonathan Martin, what did that do? And I know you can say, hey, neither of these guys, especially Jonathan Martin, are as good as Penei Sewell. I've always thought you can get really good offensive linemen later in the draft, that the floor is a lot higher for an O-lineman in the draft, but the ceiling is also a lot lower. And I trust the people evaluating. If we had a bad front office, like we've had a lot of those in the past, right? I've had to sit through the Jeff Ireland era, the Rick Spielman era, Cam Cameron. Yeah, I've had to sit through some pretty head-scratching front offices in my day as a Dolphin fan over the last couple of decades, right? So if we had a bad front office, I would say, you know what, make the lower risk move, get the offensive tackle. If he's there, you're probably not going to screw up the pick. Whereas if you draft the wrong wide receiver, then you may pay for it down the road. I trust Chris Greer to get the right wide receiver or tight end. Now I know that Drew Boo says he's not feeling Chase as much. I'd love your opinion, Drew, though, on Pitts. Like you're not feeling Chase as much. I think it's easy to forget how good Chase is because we haven't watched him play in a year. He opted out last year. I think he's incredible. I would not complain about either of the Bama receivers, though. I would not. I actually, low-key, I prefer Waddle over Smith. Just a little bit worried about Devontae's size and frame. You know, Waddle is not gigantic either, but I think that his frame, his weight matches his height a little bit more. He's not as much of a string bean. So I actually slightly prefer Waddle over Devontae Smith. But yeah, I wouldn't complain about either of those. And even if they were to draft Devontae Smith, I would complain less about drafting him at number 6 than I would have about number 3. Especially if Jamar Chase or Kyle Pitts are already off the board, then you're maybe more likely to draft Smith because I would prefer Chase or Pitts more than I would like Devontae Smith. But if one or both of them are off the board, then it makes it a little bit more palatable to me. Herman says, I give up Nutella. I'd love to know more from you guys. A few people have answered it. Empty carbs. If you got to give up one of those 4, pizza, pasta, Nutella, or cannoli, what do you give up out of those 4? Anyone who says pizza or pasta, I question your sanity. And I question whether your taste buds work properly. Like those to me are staple foods. Absolute staple foods. Empty carbs. My God. Certain political talk offends people on Twitter. I get offended when you say empty carbs for nothing, talking about pasta. It is offensive to my core. We're going to talk a little Florida Panthers when we come back. I was really impressed with the Cats last night. Carter Verhaeghe, awesome, scoring 2 goals yesterday, 4-1 victory over the Detroit Red Wings. Really, really good night in net for Sergei Bobrovsky. I stopped lots of shots. You take a lot of shots at me. It's just kind of like a time I was in Soviet Russia. You wait in very long line for cigarette and vodka. No, I stand in net. I turn away lots of shots. 972 save percentage, Donno. Beautiful, beautiful night in net for Sergei Bobrovsky. Vezina Trophy form last night, my friends. Sergei was in vintage form. Sucks that we lost Anthony Duclair for at least a week due to injury, upper body injury. We're going to ask our pal David Dwork about that and so much more. He is going to join us on the other side to talk a little Florida Panthers. And, of course, you can hear Dwork every Saturday on Chirping the Cats, so he does an awesome job there. Hey, over the last 30 years, South Florida sports fans have always been able to count on one show that gives you the brutal honesty you need. Orlando Alzagari and the Onside Zone daily from noon to 3 p.m. exclusively at OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You can connect with us at OnsideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnsideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan.
There are those who dedicate themselves to a sense of honor, to a life of courage, and a commitment to something greater than themselves. They have always defended this nation and each other. They still do. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Inter Miami CF, your official furniture and mattress store, is here. City Furniture is your #1 home source for the trends you want at the prices you'll love, including exclusive City Furniture collections, the widest selection of styles, affordable home accents, mattresses starting at just $99 and more. Create the home of your dreams fast with next-day delivery, plus get 60 months special financing with no down payment. Because City Furniture is here to make it easy so everyone can live life like this, visit cityfurniture.com. Hey everybody, it's Good Greek Moving and Storage, and for over 2 decades, they've been entrusted to handle all of your moving and storage needs. And now, Good Greek is the official mover of Inter Miami CF. And if Inter Miami trusts the Good Greek, you should too. For the best move ever, whether it's across town or across the country, go to GreekMoving.com. That's GreekMoving.com for Good Greek Moving and Storage, the official movers of your Inter Miami CF.
Riddle me this. With all this sizzling meat and crunchy veggies nestled between toasty flatbread, who should get credit for Papa John's new papadilla? The person who invented pizza or the person who invented folding? Well, whoever it is, a tip of the tongue hat to you, sir or madam. Get a new papadilla, 4 flavors, just $6 each. Better ingredients, better pizza, better than a sandwich. Papa John's.
My daughter Brinley is here at St. Jude. Coming here was literally life or death, and it was so scary. But St. Jude is fighting for one goal, like this one mission, life. And that gave us hope. We haven't received a single bill from St. Jude, so I really can just focus on what's best for Brinley.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnSideRadio.com sports update.
The Florida Panthers have won their 3rd game in a row after defeating the Detroit Red Wings last night 4-1. The win last night now has the Panthers tied with the Tampa Bay Lightning for the Central Division lead. The Cats are back on the ice tomorrow as they play Detroit again. Puck drops at 7 p.m. The Miami Heat look to get back to the 500 mark with a win tonight as they take on the Indiana Pacers. Victor Oladipo is still ruled out for tonight with a head cold, and Kendrick Nunn is now listed as questionable for tonight. Tip-off is at 7 p.m. With your Onside Sports Update, I'm Alex Aguirre, and coming up next is more Man of the Match with Alex Donno, and Game Night with Michael Christian is right after at 6 p.m. You are listening to the only locally owned sports station in South Florida, OnSideRadio.com.
Onside Radio, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
You know, we give all the local sports teams here coverage and love on Onside Radio. Nobody gives Inter Miami more love than we do. We carry the games here. Yeah, I'm working right now with Alex Aguirre, who hosts Deep Into the Count on Saturdays. He talks Marlins in Major League Baseball, so the Marlins get some love. And joining us now on the guest line, our Panthers expert who does a fantastic job every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m. with Chirping the Cats Radio. Dave Dwork, who's a very good friend of mine, joins us here on Onside Radio. Dave, good afternoon, man. How are you?
I'm doing well, Alex. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, man, especially the day after a Panthers win. There's obviously some bad that comes with the good. You know, we haven't really talked Panthers, you and I, since the Ekblad injury, which was just awful. You know, Barkey has missed some time here, and now Anthony Duclair gets hurt. Let's start with Duclair because it's the freshest. How bad do we know that was? I saw 7 to 10 days. So I'm guessing we're going to get him back in about a week, or could it be longer?
No, Q said last night, and then he said again this morning on a radio that he sees it to be about 10 days.
Okay.
So, you know, they wouldn't be like glorifying it or anything if it was anything more than that. So I would guess, you know, he'll be back next weekend or early the following week while they're on the road. It's just, like you said, it just seems like the injury bug has made a little nest for himself inside the Panthers locker room over the last week or so, because you had Barkov, Hornquist, Aaron Ekblad, and now Duclair, and it's just like, when is this going to stop?
Yeah, and so on that note, how impressed were you? And listen, I know it's Detroit, but still, I mean, how impressed were you that last night they're able, to win the game 4-1? They got a big win against Dallas, despite having, the emotional loss of Ekblad right in the middle of that game. So this goes to show me that this team is well-rounded, Dave.
Yeah, and I mean, no knock on Detroit. They're at the bottom of the division, but they have been playing .500 hockey over the last couple of weeks. They've beaten Carolina. They've beaten Tampa. They had just swept a weekend series over Columbus. So it's not like Detroit was a pushover. And as you said, they had the good game against Dallas. I think last week when they were on the road, it really came as a shock when Barkov was just suddenly, he's out for the warm-ups before a game, and then all of a sudden he's out for that game and for longer. And it took them some time. It really did look like it took the team a little bit of time to kind of figure out how to play without their best player. But they've done that. And then they lost Hornquist, and they lost Aaron Ekblad, and they've still continued to play their brand and their style of hockey. Quenneville has mixed up the lines to even out the ice time a bit more. You saw him do that pretty well with the 7 defensemen last night without Ekblad. And it's just like you said, they're deep. They've got a great coach who knows all the right buttons. He's been pushing them all this season. And you move on. You keep fighting. The schedule doesn't stop, and you keep going.
Now, the Central Division, maybe not deep, but it is very competitive at the top, Dave, because we've always, throughout the year, we've had Florida and Carolina and Tampa just kind of all flip-flopping and jockeying for position. In your mind, because you've watched all of these teams play, whether it be against the Panthers or otherwise this season, how do you feel like the Panthers really stack up against Tampa Bay and Carolina?
I love watching these teams play. It's been one of my favorite things this season when Florida plays Tampa and Carolina, because they're all so good and they're all so fast. It just makes for great hockey. And I think Florida stacks up with both of them pretty well. Florida, we've talked about it before. They're a major puck possession team. They hang on to it as much as they can, which is why losing a guy like Barkov can really, throw a wrench into the gears at times, because nobody possesses the puck on the team more than he does. But, when speaking about playing Carolina and Tampa, you've got two teams that base basically their whole principles on speed, especially Tampa. Carolina plays a bit more of a structured game, I think, than Tampa does, but both of them are just very fast. They rely on the rush. And the Panthers are a team that likes to hold on to the puck. They like to gum things up. They like to keep the neutral zone lucky when they don't have it. And it just makes for great hockey, back and forth, exciting games. I've been saying for a couple of months now that I'm excited for whatever the playoff series might be. It seems inevitable that Florida is going to have to play one, if not both of these teams, to get out of the first couple of rounds of the playoffs, depending how, it finishes with the top three. But I'm excited for it. I think, look, I understand Panthers fans, they want to play an easy team and get a playoff round victory for the first time since 1996. I'm with you on that. But at the same time, the goal is a Stanley Cup. That's what everybody's playing for. That's what this team is good enough to compete for. And in order to do that, they're going to need to beat other good teams. I think they stack up well with Tampa and Carolina. We've seen them play tight games all year against both teams. Exciting hockey. And I'm pumped for the playoffs to get here. And I think it'll be a great test. We've seen tests as the year has progressed with this Panthers team, and they continue to pass those tests. Right now they're passing tests of winning games without some of their best and most relied upon players. So I think the playoffs are going to be just the next test in a long line, and we'll see how they respond. But I'm certainly excited and cautiously optimistic for when that day arrives.
Talk to me about the goaltending, because I know that people down here love to give Bobrovsky a hard time because he had a tough year last year and he's got a gigantic contract. But he's playing really well, man. He's up to 14 wins now. He's tied for 7th in the NHL in goaltending victories. Is he, in your mind, starting to really resemble the guy who was winning Vezina trophies before he got here?
I don't know if he's starting to resemble that guy just yet, but he certainly is playing the best brand of hockey that we've seen from Bob since he arrived in South Florida.
Yep.
He's not quite at that Vezina level yet, but to be fair, it's not like anybody plays at that top level year in and year out. No, in any sport, nobody's winning the MVP year after year. Nobody's winning, the Hart Trophy year after year in hockey. So My bar for Bob is just to go out there and play consistently, not give up the cheap goals, keep your team in it. Don't do anything that's going to cause your team to kind of hang their head and like, shit, he just gave up a real crappy goal in a tight game. He's not doing that as he was much of last season and early in this season. He's much more stable. He looks calm and confident in net. You can see he's kind of smiling and, chatting up his teammates out there, which is a good sign for a goaltender to be relaxed. And really just be comfortable on the ice. And that's how he looks out there. So really with Bob, as long as he continues on that progression, which he has, and, you saw a great game from him last night against the Red Wings, giving up just the one goal. That's what Florida needs. They need that healthy competition for both of their goalies because they're both top-tier goaltenders. You talked about Bob being tied for 7th in wins. I think Chris Driedger's in the top 5 in save percentage.
Yep.
And he's played, maybe 30% less games than Bob has in terms of the wins and losses. And for Bob, too, he's tied for 7th in wins, and he hasn't only played maybe 2/3 of the games as opposed to the other guys in that list that are playing almost every night. So it's really a great thing for the Panthers. They got these two goalies that are pushing each other, that are playing well. And yeah, I mean, if Bob can just continue on this little track he's been on and really just not take a step back, because the way he's playing right now is fine. So as long as he can not take a step back and continue to move forward, for me personally, I'm not giving him, I'm not putting all this pressure like, oh, he's got this big contract. That's in the past. That's done. It's gone. He's here now. You got to make the best of what you have in your kitchen right now. Those are the ingredients you have to cook with. And yeah, so Bob and Driedger are both, at this point, I'm pumped for our goalie situation.
Now, before his injury over the weekend, Aaron Ekblad was playing the best hockey of his career. He was just sensational. And listen, I guess we don't know, and maybe you do know, but I don't know the full extent. It obviously looked bad, so I'm going to assume that he's not going to be back at any point this season. If that's the case, Dave, when it comes down to playoff series, just how much will a guy like Aaron Ekblad be missed?
Oh, you miss him immensely. I mean, this is a guy that was playing more minutes than anyone on the team. He's playing all situations. He was a guy that was, their quarterback in their power play. He's a guy that, as a defenseman, he's going out and playing against the opposing team's best players every game. And he, you just put him out there anytime you need him. So obviously it's impossible not to miss a guy like that. But, on the other hand, and also you said that he may be out for the rest of the regular season. That's for sure. But the team did say they gave it a 12-week timeline.
Good.
Which is interesting because the last day for the Stanley Cup final isn't until, I think, July 9th. And 12 weeks from now is mid-June. So there is conceivably a window of opportunity for him to come back and maybe be a savior for the late playoff run. That's kind of writing a storybook ending, and we have to get past chapter 2 at this point. But it's still within the realm of possibility. But either way, it's going to be extremely difficult to replace everything that he does on a nightly basis. And you kind of saw a little bit of what Q has in mind with the last couple of games, dressing 7 defensemen instead of the traditional 6 defensemen, and working the matchups a little bit more, not getting too locked into pairings. It's going to be interesting to see who he has with Mackenzie Weegar, who's the other half of the Panthers' top defensive pairing that had been playing with Aaron Ekblad and playing incredibly well for a defensive pairing. So it'll be tough to see because you want to build that chemistry. You want to get guys that play well together and can read off of each other. So I don't know if fans realize how big communication is when it comes to defensemen. When you're down low in your defensive zone, you guys have to be communicating. You have to be reading each other extremely well. If 2 guys run to the same spot in an instant, all of a sudden you could leave somebody uncovered in front of the net to lead to odd man rushes. And that's one of the things that Ekblad and Weegar got so much credit for was how well they could read each other on the ice. So it'll be tough for the Panthers to replace Ekblad, but they've got plenty of personnel. They brought in all these defensemen this year. They got Noah Juleson and Gus Forsling off waivers. And there has been talk that Bill Zito is looking to bring somebody in at the trade deadline, which is on Monday, April 12th, coming up soon. So, there's a few questions yet to be unanswered, but it won't be easy.
Dave Dwork is with us. He does an awesome job Saturdays 10 to 11 a.m. hosting Chirping the Cats Radio. He gives you all the Panthers talk you can handle. Before I let you go, Dave, I saw this on Twitter from an account that I loved growing up Italian. If you had to give up one of these Italian favorites, what would you give up out of these 4? You have to give up one. Pizza, pasta, Nutella, or cannoli?
You told me that this was going to be an easy interview. All right, well, I'm not giving up pizza. What was the second one?
Pasta. Thank you. You would have to be insane to give up pasta.
That covers so many different things. That's nuts.
Right.
So pizza and pasta, definitely. It's just a matter of which dessert can I do without.
Yeah, the others are
Honestly,
Nutella and cannoli.
You're going to hate me for this, but I really love a good cannoli. I think I'd rather have a good cannoli than Nutella. So I feel like Nutella's got to be the one I take off. And I know you're going to rip me for that because it's your favorite.
That's forgivable. Like, obviously, now I'm keeping Nutella and I'm getting rid of cannoli, and I like all four of those things. So it's not like, cannolis are trash, get rid of them. I love them slightly less than I love Nutella and the other two. So to say Nutella is forgivable, Dave, if you had said pasta or pizza, it would not have been forgivable.
No,
So
that wasn't even a thought.
Yeah.
That wasn't even a thought.
Yeah, there were a couple of weirdos
dinner always
on Twitter.
comes first.
Yeah.
Dessert I'll deal with at the end of the fact, but you can't take my dinner away. Give me 3 slices and a side of fettuccine Alfredo, and I'll deal with dessert later.
Well said. Great stuff. Awesome. You can follow him on Twitter at David Dwork, and, of course, check him out on Chirping the Cats every Saturday here, 10 to 11 a.m., bringing you the Panthers talk. Dave, thank you so much, man, and enjoy the rest of your week.
Anytime, brother. Be good.
I love it. That was good stuff. And, yeah, he passed the test. You know, I'm keeping Nutella, but the real test is anyone who says they're getting rid of pizza or pasta is a sociopath. It's not normal behavior. 844-416-8123. That's 844-416-8123. Going to wrap up the hour with a little Miami Hurricanes football talk when we come back. Hey, Onside Radio enters Kai's Corner with Kai Chen Chisholm every day from 10 a.m. to noon. Join Kai as he discusses the biggest stories in South Florida sports. Tune in every day from 10 a.m. to noon for Kai's Corner on the home for South Florida Sports Talk, OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Join the Inter Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
If you missed 4th and 20 with Toast and Marsh, you missed.
And the top trait they're looking for in a partner is someone that can cook better than them.
Wow.
Yeah. How are you at cooking?
I'm okay. I cook all my stuff.
What's your best dish? If I had to say, Marsh, this you're gonna eat in tonight with a girl. All right.
If I'm cooking for a girl, then I'm not cooking.
4th and 20 with Toast and Marsh, weekday mornings from 8 to 10.
Hey Panthers fans, Dave Dwork here with some awesome news. Every Saturday, I'm going to bring you the latest on everything to do with the Florida Panthers with Chirping the Cats Radio. Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., we'll dive into the state of the team, recap games, and hear from past and present Panthers players, and plenty of other great hockey guests too. Got questions about the Panthers? Call or text the show and we'll break it down. Don't miss Chirping the Cats Radio, Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., only on OnsideRadio.com.
You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station.
Inter Miami CF, your official furniture and mattress store, is here. City Furniture is your #1 home source for the trends you want at the prices you'll love, including exclusive City Furniture collections, the widest selection of styles, affordable home accents, mattresses starting at just $99 and more. Create the home of your dreams fast with next-day delivery, plus get 60 months special financing with no down payment. Because City Furniture is here to make it easy so everyone can live life like this, visit cityfurniture.com.
If you missed Onside Zone with Big O, you missed.
She's kind of young, so I don't know. She may not be into Van Halen much. Let's see. Hey, Ruthie, good afternoon. Are you a Van Halen fan?
You know, I just had to Google Van Halen. I'm not going to lie to you. I just literally have it on my computer right now.
The Onside Zone with Big O. Weekdays 11 to 1 p.m. Only on OnsideRadio.com. You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world.
Can I get a captain?
Captain and what?
Captain and Ginger.
I can't hear you.
Captain and Ginger.
He was a captain and ginger, captain and ginger. He was a captain and ginger.
Captain Morgan, official partner of Major League Soccer.
Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
This is a really good shout in the YouTube chat from our friend Andy in Scotland. He says, Nutella pizza is awesome. And he's right. That actually combines two of the things from that list. And it's funny because I think Nutella pizza is something that they don't really do much of in Europe. Like, I think that's something you see a lot of those popping up in trendy spots in the USA. I think in South America, I've never been to South America, but somebody was telling me that they do eat Nutella pizza in South America. But like a buddy of mine who lives in Sweden and he spends a lot of time in Italy, he saw me mention on Twitter Nutella pizza and he was like baffled. He's like, I guess he thought that like Nutella pizza is when you have like a regular pizza with tomato sauce and cheese and some weirdo would put Nutella on top of it. No. It's just the dough with the Nutella on top of it. So you're not mixing like the savory, salty goodness of pizza with Nutella. I would never do something like that. But Nutella pizza is strictly a dessert and it is fantastic. So I guess if Andy in Scotland is texting about it, they must have it up in Scotland. But my buddy from Sweden, who also spends a lot of time in Italy, didn't know much about it. He says it's popular now in Scotland. That's because the Scottish are smart. They know a good dessert when they see it. I'm proud of them for adopting that. Very proud of them. Got a little disappointing news this morning. But like I always say, if you don't want to be a Cane, I don't want you. If you don't want to be in the program, if you don't want to really commit and bleed, sweat, and give your tears for the U, if you want to reopen your commitment, fine, we'll find somebody we like better, or maybe you'll change your mind and come back around. But Tampa Carrollwood Day, top 24/7 defensive lineman Brandon Cleveland. He was a verbal commit for the class of 2022 to Miami, and he backed off that commitment today. He announced on social media, after praying and discussing it with my family, I have decided to reopen my recruiting process and decommit from Miami, he wrote on Twitter. Thank you for all the prayers and support. So he was the nation's number 17 defensive tackle prospect. Well, we got to get one of the top 16 guys in here now. Originally gave a verbal commitment to the Hurricanes way back in August of 2020. At the time, he was talking primarily with assistant coaches Blake Baker and Todd Stroud, but both individuals are no longer on-field assistants for the Hurricanes, so that could have something to do with it. Obviously, I know that when Blake Baker left, we're all jumping for joy because Blake Baker wasn't a very good coordinator, but still, even coaches you don't like can sometimes develop strong bonds with recruits, and when that coach leaves or gets fired, it can affect the recruiting process. Cleveland has picked up offers from LSU, NC State, and Marshall in recent months. I don't know. I kind of doubt he's going to end up choosing Marshall over the likes of Miami, LSU, and NC State. So I don't know how much of a shot Marshall really has. Like, let me go play for Marshall and go live in West Virginia when I could be playing for LSU, Miami, or NC State. So good luck to Marshall. Oh, he also has his name linked to Arizona State, they write. So listen, this happens. Anybody who follows recruiting, even on a cursory level, knows that, especially when you're talking about a class that is about 9 months away from when you can actually start getting real letters of intent signed, because December now, early signing period. 9 months is a lot of time for 17-year-olds to change their minds, right? If you follow recruiting, you get some commits, decommits. We've had at times players who will commit, decommit, and then recommit to the same program. It's wild. It's wild because a lot of these players, they make up their mind too early with a verbal commit. It's like when they're sophomores, they'll just say, oh, I'm feeling so much love from a certain program. Maybe I'm worried I'm not going to get offers from a bunch of other schools. so I want to verbally commit to this university. And then all of a sudden you start to see love coming in from other schools, and they're recruiting you even though you verbally committed, because they don't stop. Like they try to get, I mean, you know, Miami recently got Jake Garcia for the class of 2021. He was originally a USC commit, and Miami didn't stop recruiting him. So you don't necessarily stop just because a player gives a verbal commit somewhere else. So changing of the minds happens a lot. But there's a lot of work to do for the class of 2022. Miami just landed a really good class in 2021, but as far as 2022 goes, they only have one verbal commit for right now, for what that's worth. The only verbal commit is Ja'Cory Brown, who we just talked about last week, the four-star quarterback out of Georgia, committed to Miami. I think it was last Friday, if I'm not mistaken, was when he officially committed to the U. And at the time when he committed, we said, okay, we have two commits for 2022. We've got Ja'Cory Brown now. We have Brandon Cleveland. Brandon Cleveland is decommitted, so Ja'Cory Brown is currently the only member of the class of 2022. But obviously, I think Manny Diaz is going to end up getting a decent class. That's one thing that he has proven. Now, you can talk about how's he going to develop the talent, because that's one area where Miami has had, unfortunately, more misses than hits in recent years. But as far as Diaz recruiting and transfer portaling, he's done a really good job in those areas. So I think he's going to end up having a nice class of 2022. We'll kick off the 5 o'clock hour when we come back. Oh, we're going to talk some Dolphins here coming up next with Alfredo Arteaga from 3 yards per carry. Haven't talked enough Dolphins today. We're going to rectify that problem when we return. And speaking of Dolphins, Sundays at 9 a.m., Juan Cardona dominates the airwaves with Juan on Juan. From sneakers to video games to your favorite South Florida team, tune in every Sunday to Juan on Juan, exclusively on the home for sports talk in South Florida, OnSideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You're listening to OnSideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the Radio.net app. OnSideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station.
Hey everybody, it's Good Greek Moving and Storage, and for over 2 decades, they've been entrusted to handle all of your moving and storage needs. And now, Good Greek is the official mover of Inter Miami CF. And if Inter Miami trusts the Good Greek, you should too. For the best move ever, whether it's across town or across the country, go to GreekMoving.com. That's GreekMoving.com for Good Greek Moving and Storage, the official movers of your Inter Miami CF.
Miami Dolphins fans can always count on the best coverage at OnSideRadio.com. Every week, keep up with your favorite team as Dolphins writer Omar Kelly joins us with exclusive reports. And when news breaks, catch the EJDConstruction.com Miami Dolphins report on the home for Dolphins fans everywhere, OnSideRadio.com. You're listening to the flagship station of Inter Miami CF, OnSideRadio.com. Follow us on social media at OnSide Radio. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno.
It's all yours. Just keep it right here.
You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
In a moment, we're going to bring in Alfredo Arteaga from 3 yards per carry on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. He's going to join me here on Onside Radio. You're listening to Man of the Match with Alex Donno. Oh, I am Alex Donno, and I'm with you guys for one more hour. We take you up until Christian Chase. Or no, sorry, what Christian Chase? He hosts Deep Into the Count with Alex. Michael Christian. I got my Christians mixed up. Michael Christian is going to take over from 6 to 7 o'clock. He hosts Game Night every night here on Onside Radio. You know, I learned so much from the esports minutes that we air every day on Onside Radio. I had no idea that, like, there's all this controversy with, like, people keeping Call of Duty stats are getting taken off the web. Toast was talking about that today. Michael Christian this week was talking about how, like, what is that game that they're Fortnite is cracking down on people gambling on the game. It's ridiculous. But I want to bring in to talk some Miami Dolphins here our very good friend Alfredo Arteaga, who does such an awesome job on 3 yards per carry on 5 Reasons Sports. And a lot has changed, Alf, since we last spoke. Like, we last spoke a couple weeks ago. The Dolphins had the 3rd overall pick. It's a completely different outlook. How are you, man?
Doing good.
I love when you always keep it short and sweet. I'm glad we're doing good here as well. And okay, so the last time we spoke, this was before Chris Greer started playing 4D chess, traded down from 3 to 12, and then back up from 12 to 6. First of all, your thoughts on that move? It's impossible to criticize it, right? I mean, he picks up an extra future 1st and 3rd round pick while dropping 3 spots and can probably get the same player at number 6. Like, this was a damn near perfect trade, right?
Absolutely. There's no way to really criticize this trade. He got premium for the big move from 12 to 3, and then if from 3 to 12, and then you want to move up to 6, you got to pay the price, right? Because they hold the cards, meaning
right.
The Eagles, and you pay the 1st, which is usually, they paid sticker price to move up to 6. It's a great move all the way around. The only way I could describe it is this way: they got premium from the move down to 12, and they only paid sticker price to move up to 6. So really that's a pretty good move by Chris Greer.
Okay, so my question to you would be, in the 3 spots they ultimately dropped, because if you look at the net effect of it is they dropped from 3 to 6 is the net result here. How many of the guys that they might have targeted at number 3 do you think will be off the board, if any? Like, do you think we might have 4 quarterbacks taken in the first 5? Like, do you expect before number 6 for one of Kyle Pitts, Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, or Jalen Waddle to be off the board? And if so, how many of those guys?
I do expect one of them to be off the board. And it's kind of easy to just say, look, the top 4 should be quarterbacks. But I think we know already that the top 3 are going to be quarterbacks. So we really only care about what's happening at 4 and 5. The Falcons got to be thinking about the future.
Yeah.
And they could have Trey Lance drop to them. It could be Justin Fields. It could be Mac Jones, although after that pro day performance yesterday,
Oof.
Mac Jones, woof. Yeah, that's right. That's a bad – like most people say, look, nobody should care about pro day performances. When you start hitting the roof on a throw, yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah,
okay?
Alfredo, the way that I look at it on a side note is, like, I put more stock into a guy having a bad pro day than a good pro day, because it shouldn't be that difficult to have a good pro day, because you're out there doing choreographed throwing sessions with receivers that you've played with before. So, like, having a good pro day shouldn't be that difficult. But if you're going through choreographed workouts with your teammates and you have a bad pro day, that to me is alarming.
Absolutely. And then to answer the question, at number 5, you have the Bengals and you have Joe Burrow there. And the rumor is that he's pushing for Jamar Chase, which is his, it was his go-to guy in 2019 when he had that historic season. So that makes a lot of sense. Although if you listen to Bengals fans, they should be going after somebody like Penny Sewell. So, you could have 2 gone, but more likely than one, you will have 1 gone. I'm willing to bet that the Bengals are probably going to listen to their franchise quarterback and hand him Jamar Chase, which will leave Miami with a choice of Kyle Pitts and Devonta Smith, in my opinion, as the top 2 remaining, and that's a pretty good choice to have.
Well, let me ask General Manager Alf then. If you're in that draft room, number 6 comes up, and you've got Pitts and Smith both available, who do you go with?
Well, I consult with my capologist, and I say, look, is it possible to keep Mike Gesicki next year on a good number and also have Kyle Pitts on a good number? And I'm pretty sure that my capologist is going to say, look, if the Patriots are paying 2 guys, 2 tight ends, $12 million a year this year, then I think the Dolphins can do it. So I'll probably take Pitts to pair him with Mike Gesicki going forward. And that's going to be a fun offense to watch.
And, okay, what are you thinking at 18? 18, like, do you start looking at needs? Because the Dolphins definitely have a need at pass rusher, and that's right around the point where you start to see, like, the University of Miami guys, Michigan, a couple guys could be still on the board at that point. So do you start thinking about need, or do you think you might be so blown away by another offensive talent, like if Najee Harris is somehow still on the board at that point? Do you make another splash on offense, or do you look more at defensive end or edge rusher?
Well, there's been a lot of noise around Najee Harris and this particular team, meaning the Dolphins, because they coached them at the Senior Bowl. And you would think that it would be Najee Harris at 18, but if they do go up, if they stay at 18 to take an edge rusher, a Kwity Paye, or maybe even Jalen Phillips from the U, if they take somebody like that, it has to be that their evaluation was so high on one of these guys, because they didn't do it last year. And so far this year, the noise hasn't been around edge rushers. It's been about skill players. So it's something that they kept really, really under wraps in the building and have a real conviction over if they do that. But I would expect there would be another offensive player at 18.
We're joined here by Alfredo Arteaga. Does an awesome job for 3 yards per carry on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. How do you feel about the additional game, 17? I know I've seen a few players complain about it, but then I always go back to, like, hey, you guys voted on that CBA, and you got things from the owners, like they, more lenience on marijuana, which I think was important, because I think it's ridiculous to spend guys for marijuana. And obviously the players are going to end up making, financial profits from this as well. So how do you feel about the 17th game?
Well, I was hoping for like 162 games, but I'll settle for 17.
They would have to keep like a 500-man roster to play that many games in the NFL.
Yeah, I've heard it said before. Is there such a thing as too much football? I never really burn out on football. I watch it and I enjoy it. So it's not my body. I understand how the players could look at that and say, look, this is probably a bridge too far, but they will be getting paid for it. Right. Like it's in the CBA. They will get something for it. I just think it's a little bit, it's odd that you're going to be the only sport where you can't finish a season 500. So I would say that an 18th game is probably on the way in the near future. But for now, I think it's fine. It's a fine thing. The only thing I don't agree with is that they kept all the preseason games, and they're having 3 preseason games when they probably should have only 1.
Right.
So that's the only thing I disagree with it. 17 games, as long as the players get paid for it and they allow for it as far as adding a roster spot or adding a couple of roster spots, then I'm good with it.
Well, let me ask you about a potential draft scenario. Like if the Dolphins take Kyle Pitts at number 6, and you and I would both be fine with that. I know that, and most of our listeners would as well. If they were to take Pitts at number 6, let's say take an edge rusher at number 18, then how urgent is it in your mind then to get a wide receiver in the second round? And is there anybody who may be available with 36 or the 50th overall pick who you think might be available and could be a steal for the Dolphins?
Well, this is a very, very deep wide receiver class, but there's one guy in particular, and I keep touting him every chance I get. And at 36, who knows? Maybe he's not even there because he just pops every time you watch him. That's Dwayne Eskridge of Western Michigan.
Yeah.
And he finished his pro day, and he ran as fast or faster than all of the top guys. So, yeah, I would say that 36, if they do take an edge rusher at 18, I would say that 36 is probably earmarked for another wide receiver, because the flip side of that is you're going into another season counting on Preston Williams, counting on Devontae Parker, and counting on Will Fuller, who I really, really like, to stay healthy. And neither of those three guys staying healthy is a guarantee. So I would absolutely think that they would want a wide receiver with their first 3 picks in the draft.
Now, if they get a wide receiver in the first round, but they don't get Najee Harris in the first round, then maybe you're looking at running back in the second round. Who pops to you there? Because I am, even though he embarrassed my Miami Hurricanes, I am a fan of Javonte Williams. I would not mind bringing him to South Florida with, say, the 36th pick.
That's the name. That's the name that everybody keeps saying, and I agree with it. I absolutely agree with it. He pops on film. He's big, strong, fast, follows blocks well. And if you just watch the Hurricane game, it's
oh my god,
it's embarrassing. That was as embarrassing a moment. A guy on Twitter was asking me, Jalen Phillips, why are you down on Jalen Phillips? I said, look, first of all, it's not that North Carolina game. All right, watch other games. Don't watch the North Carolina game because there's nothing you can glean from that.
Nope.
That was like a college team playing against a high school team. Because I personally had never seen something like that. A Division I team giving up almost 600 yards rushing.
Yeah.
Like, that's not normal. So, yeah, that's the name. And one thing I like to remind everybody, 2 years ago or a year ago, going into the draft process, when Travis Etienne was going to enter the draft, everybody had him as the number one running back. So what's changed since then? So he's not a bad option either.
Yeah, that's true. Now, I want to get more detail, though, on something you said about Jalen Phillips. You not a big fan of his?
No, I'm not a big fan of his as far as like his versatility, especially for our system, for the Dolphins system.
That's a great point because people forget about the system fit is different here from a lot of places.
I think it's entirely possible that Jalen Phillips, as a rookie, gets 11 sacks, but it doesn't really mesh with what the Dolphins would need him to do. Like, he would have to play a lot of 5-tech, set the edge, play against the run. The Dolphins don't really ask their pass rushers to win one-on-one a whole lot. It's a thing that they reserve a specialist to do. Somebody like last year, it was Andrew Van Ginkel. This year's probably going to be Andrew Van Ginkel and Vince Spiegel. So, Jalen Phillips, I think, is going to work just fine in a system that plays like a 4-3 flex. And they just let him, just go after the quarterback one-on-one against a tackle. Just go get him. You don't have to play too much inside of this scheme.
Really good stuff here from Alfredo Arteaga from 3 Yards Per Carry on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Something that, and I know you're a lifelong Dolphin fan, so you're going to have perspective on this, as a lot of us do here on this station. Something that we were getting into earlier in the week is just about the work that Chris Grier is doing since he's been the number one guy. I know he's been with the Dolphins for a long time, going back to 2007 as a scout, and then even, going back to 2016 when he was technically the GM, but he's really answering to Tannenbaum, and then Gase had a lot of power as well. The buck has stopped with Grier the last couple of years. I think he's doing an incredible job. I mean, Alf, how would you compare just the work that Grier is doing compared to, some of the clowns we've had in the recent past, like the Jeff Irelands and then, the Rick Spielmans, who used to just panic and give up, a second-round pick for A.J. Feely and a third-round pick for Lamar Gordon. Now, for me, Grier is always the guy on the other sides of those deals. Like, when somebody's making a panic deal, it's not Grier panicking, it's Grier taking advantage of the panic.
Absolutely. It's completely different. And that's why listeners of ours, when they reach us on our Twitter account and they ask us, but Grier's been here for 40 years. Oh, that doesn't matter. He's had the real job for 2 years, and I think that there's little evidence that suggests that he had anything to do with the failures of the last 20. I think he has everything to do with the success of the last 2, because it's 2 different guys. Like, you just look at it and, there's no way that Chris Grier was actually really in charge 2 years ago.
Right.
But you could tell it's a completely different mindset. It's a different disposition. Like, everything they do is absolutely different. I think it's a pretty good partnership, hand in hand, him and Coach Flores, and he's getting him the groceries, and so far it's working. Now, as Simon Clancy on our podcast is fond of saying, you've done all the work until now. Now go get those players. Go get those stars. Go get the Travis Kelce. Get us a Devontae Adams. Get us an Aaron Donald. Find us players.
Yeah, very well said, as always. Alfredo Arteaga, you want to check him out. He does excellent work on 3 Yards Per Carry. Alf, thank you so much, my friend. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you for having me.
Good stuff, man, and that was unbelievable info. All right, I want to, on the other side, I want to weigh in on the roundtable topic for today here on Onside Radio, and we teased it a little bit because I asked Alf about it, about the 17-game season and how it makes me feel as a football fan. We'll get into that and more when we come back. Hey, Florida Panthers fans have a place to call home every Saturday morning as Cats insider Dave Dwork, who was nice enough to join us today, hosts Chirping the Cats Radio every Saturday at 10 a.m. Onside Radio is committed to all sports, and Panthers fans can now connect every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m. with David Dwork on the home for Panthers fans worldwide, onsideradio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You can now watch Onside Radio daily by subscribing to our YouTube and Twitch channels. Search Onside Radio. Log on, subscribe, rate, and review Onside Radio on YouTube and Twitch. Find out why Big O has a face for radio. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's home for real sports talk.
Inter Miami CF, your official furniture and mattress store, is here. City Furniture is your #1 home source for the trends you want at the prices you'll love, including exclusive City Furniture collections, the widest selection of styles, affordable home accents, mattresses starting at just $99 and more. Create the home of your dreams fast with next-day delivery, plus get 60 months special financing with no down payment. Because City Furniture is here to make it easy so everyone can live life like this, visit cityfurniture.com.
I'm Ryan Seacrest. First responders are people who stand for a greater purpose. They will be there for you when nobody else is, to help you, your family, your community. This is their selfless promise. This is their sworn duty to protect, to serve, to help. They put themselves in harm's way for us. They come to the rescue at times when we need them most. First responders are making enormous personal sacrifices to keep showing up for us and fighting the good fight. Nearly 70% of all firefighters are volunteers. That means when they get injured or quarantined, they may not have a way to pay their rent or keep their family safe and fed. No matter who you are or where you live, when you call 911 and ask for help, first responders show up. Now, let's show up for the people who show up for us every day and every night.
Go to firstrcf.org and make a difference today.
You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world. You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. Check this out. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
You know, one of the many, many frustrating things about being a sports fan during a pandemic or even being a media member is, you know, you don't get nearly as much access to practices, training camp, spring practice in case the University of Miami. So you got to rely on secondhand info. You have to rely on what people are saying on Zoom interviews, or, you know, if anyone has like drones flying over a practice or something, you have to rely on that. I think they cracked down on that pretty well, though. Like, you used to be able to, you'd see creeps flying, like, drones over things. Probably Bill Belichick was controlling most of those, getting, like, secret practice footage. But I think there's, like, more laws and regulations against that now. Have you ever owned a drone, Alex? Like, at one point, a few years ago, a kid in my neighborhood had one. Like, I've never even flown one. They look fun, like, to fly around. I've never flown one before.
I've flown one a couple of times because my cousin owns one, and yeah, they are pretty fun. But if you're reckless, you can't be reckless.
Yeah,
with
I'd
that
be
at
afraid
all.
I would crash it.
They're expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, and what if you're flying it like a quarter mile away and you crash it? Like, did it have like a little like tracker on it so you can easily find it if you crash it?
I'm sure some of them do. The pricier they are, the more gadgets it has, the more attachments.
So.
You know, so I'm sure there's trackers on it, or like tells you like, oh, like. I know my cousin has. It tells you like, okay, you've gone too high up. Like you reaches the limit of how far the drone can go until you lose connection.
Huh. Okay. So you get to outer space at some point. It's like, I don't know where my drone went. It's gone. It's in outer space.
And then crashing into someone's backyard.
Yeah, that would be bad.
Yeah,
that would be bad. But you know, all this to say, you know, I can't claim that I have the best grasp of what's really going on at University of Miami spring practice. We are going to have the spring game televised in a couple weeks here. It's going to be a great weekend. The weekend of April 17th is going to be an awesome sports weekend for me because you're going to have the University of Miami spring game televised at 11 a.m. on Saturday the 17th. And then on Sunday the 18th, you got Inter Miami here at the stadium. I'm going to be at the game working on the broadcast. Inter Miami against LA Galaxy. So the weekend of April 17th is going to be just giggity goo for me, if I borrow the phrase from Quagmire. It's going to be awesome. So as far as what's going on at spring practice, for Miami, you rely a little bit on what Manny Diaz tells the media, what the players are telling the media. But Diaz has been positively glowing about the way things are going in spring so far. And obviously you got to carry the bullshit meter with you because rarely is a coach ever going to say, yeah, you know what, I don't think we're doing so hot. Rarely is a coach going to say anything negative. And there certainly are incentives to be positive because you're always recruiting, right? You're a college football head coach. The recruiting never stops. You're always trying to make your program sound good. But if you read between the lines and you read the tea leaves, I do think Diaz is legitimately satisfied with the way things are going in the spring. There are a lot of good vibes. I know that not the best vibe is that, De'Aaron King is not available in the spring because he's recovering from an ACL. But the good news is he's smashing every benchmark. He's fully expected to be ready for fall camp and more than ready for the opener against Alabama. So De'Aaron King, I'm so impressed with this young man. He is such a leader. He's such an optimistic guy. People like that are always the ones who smash their rehab and come back faster, right? It's the negative people, the people who don't work hard and get out of shape. They never come back quickly from injuries. But someone like De'Aaron King, who is 1,000% committed to football and to his career, is a very optimistic kid. It does not surprise me whatsoever. He's doing well with his rehab. But if you think about the good vibes for Miami, I mean, just the fact that De'Aaron King opted to come back for next year when he didn't have to. So did wide receiver Mike Harley. So did offensive lineman Jared Williams. Zach McLeod, who's going to actually be moving from linebacker to edge rusher. So McLeod's going to be moving up onto the defensive line. He's put on some more size. I hope that goes very well for him. I would love to see him absolutely dominate at defensive end this year. You also got some juniors who maybe didn't have to come back. Cameron Harris. I don't know where he would have actually been drafted if drafted, but we've had enough players leave Miami early to go undrafted that nothing surprises me anymore. I mean, you could argue, hey, Donno, if Cameron Harris had left early, would he even have been drafted? Joe Yearby left early to go undrafted, and his NFL career lasted like 3 minutes. So it happens. It happens all the time, especially at running back, where guys will leave early even with no guarantee of getting drafted. So I'm happy Cameron Harris came back because running back is the deepest position on the team. I mean, running back is going to be so deep for Miami. I don't even think he's going to end up being the starter. I think Don Chaney is going to take his job. But Cameron Harris, God bless him, he's back. Nesta Silvera came back. Bubba Bolden didn't have to come back, and he came back. So there are a lot of good vibes for Diaz and company. And Manny Diaz said this week on Packer and Durham on the ACC network that this is the most competitive spring of his coaching career. You go back to his days as an assistant, a coordinator, whether it be at Miami or at, Mississippi State and Texas. Manny Diaz says this is the most competitive spring he has seen in his coaching career. And it makes sense because at least for the Diaz era at Miami from 2016 on when he was D coordinator then head coach, on paper, I don't think Miami has ever been as deep. And that's relatively speaking. I'm not comparing Miami's depth to Clemson's or Ohio State's or whatever, but if you just compare this Miami to the Miami of the last 5 years, I don't think they've ever been this deep going into spring. So it makes sense you're going to have competition. Even though your starting quarterback is basically undisputed, he's not even healthy right now, and there's a good competition at backup quarterback because, both Tyler Van Dyke and Jake Garcia put up good numbers in the spring scrimmage that they released stats from. You got a ton of depth at running back. You have low-key depth at tight end. You got a lot of depth at wide receiver. Defensive secondary. Even though you lost your top 2 defensive linemen, I think you're going to have some good battles there as well. So it's good, man. And I like to hear from Diaz that he's seeing the competition. It's been the most competitive spring he's been a part of. And I like this quote that Diaz dropped on how knowing that you're opening up your season against the champs, you're opening your season against a team that is going to be favored against you, I would imagine, by close to 3 scores. I'm not a professional handicapper, but I would imagine Alabama is going to be at least a 17 or 18-point favorite against Miami for that opening game. And, the Canes know they're going to go up against the champs. And to Diaz, knowing you're preparing for Bama, it's an extra bit of motivation because you're not opening with a cream puff. You're not opening with FAMU, Bethune-Cookman. You're not opening with an FCS school, Savannah State. You're opening up against the best team in the country, the best coach team in the country on top of that, because Nick Saban has had quite a career for himself. And Diaz says, quote, "It adds a great sense of urgency for our entire offseason program," he said. "How do we get us to the level that we want to get Miami at? If we're concerned about Miami, we will ultimately play better no matter who the opposition is. We have a lot of respect for what they've done at Alabama. We know it will be a difficult contest, but it is still a new year, and there will be new players on both teams. If you want to be the best, you have to play the best, and we are excited to line up against those guys." Now, I'm not expecting Miami to win the game, but if you're going to play Alabama in 2021, I'd rather play them opening weekend because they're going to be breaking in a new quarterback, new starting receivers, new starting running back, some new offensive linemen. Now, these are all 5-star guys, maybe a couple of 4-stars that Alabama is replacing their studs with. So don't expect a big drop-off in talent, but you're still getting some guys who are a bit green, inexperienced, and it's going to be their first official game together. So if you're going to play Alabama next year, I'd rather play them week 1 than week 11, right? I think you're getting Alabama at the time you would like to play them. Now, that works both ways because Miami also is going to have new players at some positions, but you did return 9 out of 11 starters on defense. And, if your starting quarterback, De'Ara King, is in fact ready to play, that's going to give you some stability on the offensive side of the football. So I want to see Miami punch them in the mouth. Like, I want to see Miami give Alabama their best shots and really make them earn it. I do not want to see the invisible effort that they had in November, or was it, I think it was early December last year when they got humiliated by North Carolina. I don't want to see any nonsense like that. I don't want to see you get humiliated on national TV. Like, I want to see Miami make Alabama bleed. I want to see Miami really give the Crimson Tide their best shot, make the Crimson flow from their mouths and their noses in that game. Like, really bully those guys within the rules, of course. I don't want Amari Carter getting ejected for his 19th targeting call of his career. Like, I want it all to be on the level, but I want you to really make them earn every single freaking yard that they pick up in that game. Every single freaking yard. Oh, man. So, yeah, I'm excited, and I'm happy to hear Diaz with some glowing reviews for the way that things are going. I really am. 844-416-8123 is the text number if you want to reach us. That's 844-416-8123. Oh, isn't this the truth? Marla writes in, "The officials will be primed and ready to assist Alabama when UM rolls into town in September." Now, oh, my God. And you know what? I hope it's a neutral crew. Because if it's ACC officials, like normally, and I think it is going to be probably a neutral crew. Maybe like a Pac-12 or a Big Ten crew. Because, like, normally people would say, oh, I want to have officials from my conference because they might favor me. ACC officials have a blood vendetta against Miami, right? Like, honestly, if it was one team's crew or another, like one conference crew or another, I would rather face Alabama with SEC officials than ACC officials. Like, I would feel like even the officials of Alabama's conference would be nicer to Miami than the ACC officials who 2 years ago didn't call one single holding against our opponents. But I think it's going to be a neutral crew. So you got to hope that if it's like you get some jackasses from the Pac-12 or something, that they're not like, they don't just have their head up their asses the entire game and they give Miami a couple of calls when they're due a couple of calls. I hope that's the case. Oh, man, yeah, they write in officials are supposed to come from the road team's conference, but there's no road team in this game. It's being played in Atlanta, so it's not, you know, obviously there's going to be more Alabama fans because there's like 10 million alumni from that school. So, yeah, there's going to be more Alabama fans, but it's not a home game for them. It's the Chick-fil-A kickoff game in Atlanta. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be a neutral crew. I think they're going to treat it like a bowl game. I think it's kind of the way that they treat that with officials. I don't think it's going to be ACC or SEC. I think it's going to be like a Big 10 or a Big 12 crew, Pac-12, something like that. So that's going to be interesting. I still need to, on the other side, I want to weigh in on the roundtable topic for today on the 17-game schedule. I talked a lot about it yesterday, too, but I want to give another angle on it. I found a really good bit of audio. I'm going to send it to Alex so that he can play it for us from Kay Adams on Good Morning Football. She had a really good idea because something you guys got to remember, there are so many NFL records that are based on 16-game seasons. So if you add a 17th regular season game, like all those records are going to be shattered because it's another regular season game to break those records. So I want to talk about a little bit about what we do about that on the other side. Hey, remember, over the past 30 years, South Florida fans have always been able to count on one radio show that gives you the brutal honesty you need. Orlando Alzagari and the Onside Zone, daily from noon to 3 p.m., exclusively at OnsideRadio.com.
The man of the match with South Florida's own Alex Donno. Weekdays 1 to 5 p.m. on the home for Inter-Miami football. OnsideRadio.com.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that. Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
If you missed Onside Zone with Big O, you missed.
The 25-year-old was reportedly arrested this past week near Vail, where a sheriff's deputy said he saw Camargo's car speeding and changing lanes erratically, which is always really smart. When you're carrying a lot of drugs, you want to speed, you want to swerve, you want to look like you're drunk and high and all that. You want to cause as much attention. You want to bring as much attention to you when you're carrying a load of drugs. That's just the tip for you, thieves out there, you drug dealers, you criminals. Bring all the attention possible to you while you're committing a crime. It's really, really smart.
The Onside Zone with Big O, only on OnsideRadio.com. You're listening to the only sports station in South Florida that likes to take your calls. 888-441-4623. we connect with a South Florida sports fan because we are South Florida. Locally owned and operated. 888-441-4623. OnSideRadio.com. South Florida's home for real sports talk.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can STEM, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can STEM, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnSideRadio.com sports update.
The Florida Panthers have won their third game in a row after defeating the Detroit Red Wings last night 4-1. The win last night now has the Panthers tied with Tampa Bay for the Central Division lead. The Cats are back on the ice tomorrow as they play Detroit again. Puck drops at 7 p.m. Miami Heat look to get back to the 500 mark with a win tonight as they take on the Indiana Pacers. Victor Oladipo is ruled off for tonight with a head cold and has been updated that Kendrick Nunn and KZ Okpala will be out for tonight. Tip-off is at 7 p.m. For the Onside Sports Update, I'm Alex Aguirre, and coming up next, it's more Man of the Match with Alex Donno, and Game Night with Michael Christian is right after at 6 p.m. You are listening to the only locally owned sports station in South Florida, OnSideRadio.com.
You're listening to OnSideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnSideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
So the roundtable topic for today, now that it's official, what do you love or hate most about the NFL's 17-game season? That was ratified yesterday. Does it help or hurt the sport? I think it's a no-brainer that it helps the sport. And why it helps the sport of football in the NFL are the reasons why I love it, and every football fan should love it. You get another game of football. I mean, I love watching the Miami Dolphins play 16 games a year. I'm really going to love watching them play 17 games a year, even if they're not playing well. And I think they will play well this coming season and in the near future because I like what Brian Flores and Chris Greer are doing. But I'm a football junkie. At no point in my life have I ever gone through an NFL season and said, God, I wish they didn't play this many games. No, my thought has always been, and I'm a junkie, whether the Dolphins are in the playoffs or have a winning record or not, I love the NFL. And if the Dolphins are bad, I watch other games. I watch the Red Zone. You know, I wasn't watching much Red Zone this past year because the Dolphins had a pretty good season. At no point in my life as a football fan have I ever said either, oh, I wish they played fewer games, or, no, I don't want more regular season games. I'm not really into that. No, I've always been gung-ho about it. So this just gives another week and another game of exposure to all these National Football League franchises. You know, you get extra home revenue for these games, so you're putting more money in the pockets of the league and of these owners, which is going to, help the salary cap continue to increase. The TV deals are only getting bigger because of this. You get another week of fantasy football. You get another week of gambling, which is not a bad thing, and the NFL is actually starting to embrace gambling. So from the standpoint of a football fan, there's no L here. It's only W's. You are only taking wins here from the standpoint of a football fan. Now, as far as the players go, I understand there are some concerns. Oh, and by the way, before I get to that, another good thing I forgot to mention about 17 games is we get one fewer preseason game. Oh, that was such garbage, 4 preseason games. That was painful. So we get 17 regular season games, just 3 preseason games. So that's another W. And as far as concerns from the players who, I can understand it, why you would be concerned about playing an extra regular season game, for the foreseeable future. It might even expand to 18 games at some point down the road. It's more wear and tear on the bodies. Playing a very physical, very dangerous game. Long-term effects are there. So you're putting more wear and tear on the bodies of these players. I understand the concern. I'm not going to feel too much sympathy for the Alvin Kamaras and the rest who are complaining about this, because the players had to vote yes and ratify this collective bargaining agreement. So you voted on it. Now, not everybody voted yes. Some players voted no, but it did pass. So you only have your peers to blame. If you voted no and you're concerned that this was ratified, it's on the players at the end of the day. They agreed to this. And it's not like you guys are getting nothing in return. You're getting paid for it. You're getting compensated for this extra game. The salary cap is going to continue to go up. It took a step back this year because of the pandemic, but the salary cap is going to go back up and higher up in the near future. You also got concessions on marijuana. In the CBA that was ratified a year ago, you no longer get suspended for positive marijuana tests, and the testing window has been shortened from 5 months down to 2 weeks. And they've raised the threshold of how much marijuana in your system means a positive test. And I'm all for it. I think it's silly to suspend players for something that's not a performance-enhancing substance, something that they're probably taking to reduce the pain on their bodies that comes with playing NFL games. And I'd rather these guys be smoking weed than taking prescription painkillers, because I got news for you. The weed is safer. No matter what you say about the weed, it's safer than getting hooked on oxycodone. So this is a better alternative. And so, yeah, to get things like more money and leniency on marijuana, the players had to give something up, and they had to give the owners the option to add regular season games. They've added a 17th game. But it's a net W. More exposure, more money for everyone, more excitement for the fans. Yeah, this is a good thing. As a football fan, I absolutely love it. More opportunities to win more money, Herman says. I also love the fact that we can never go 8-8 again. Rosendo says, do you like it if we had 18 regular season games, 2 preseason games, 2 bye weeks, and have the Super Bowl on President's Day weekend so fans have Monday to recover? Yes! Rosendo, you read my goddamn mind. I said that the Monday after the Super Bowl. Maybe you were listening, maybe you weren't, but I talked about this the Monday after the Super Bowl, because fans always start these petitions because the Super Bowl's on a Sunday. It starts around 6:30, but the halftime show is really long. By the time the game ends, it's late at night. It's a work night. It's a school night. And people like to get a little crazy and a little drunk during the Super Bowl. So people have been saying and petitioning for years that they should make the Monday after the Super Bowl a holiday, and you shouldn't have to go to work or to go to school after that. My 2 solutions have always been this. I think it's kind of silly to add another holiday to the calendar. Like I believe in work ethic, guys. I think it's silly to add another holiday to the calendar. So my 2 solutions are very simple. You either move the Super Bowl to a Saturday, because why not? Why does it have to be on a Sunday? You either move it to a Saturday or you move the Super Bowl to President's Day weekend, so you already have a holiday on the calendar for Monday. 2 birds, 1 stone. How you like them apples? So, yeah, Rosendo, I completely agree. That's a great plan. The Super Bowl should be played on President's Day weekend so that we don't have to add another holiday. Listen, we secretaries, I don't think people take off on Secretary's Day, but we got every month there's like a Labor Day or a Memorial Day or a President's Day. It's like nobody ever works on Mondays anymore. I believe in productivity. We can just mold the Super Bowl into another one of these holiday weekends.
What happened to siestas? They do it in Europe.
Yeah, and Europe is doing all right for themselves. Like, listen, no, they definitely are. I mean, isn't I know we take a lot of pride as Americans, but the European economies are not doing so poorly right now. I mean, maybe not right this second because of COVID.
Right.
But, don't sleep on Europe.
I'm all in for the siesta, though. I will say that.
I will tell you, I don't want to make it just sound like I'm trying to say Europe is superior to the United States or anything. But here's one thing that we do better over here, and work ethic comes into play on this. If you've ever spent time in Europe, you'll notice shops close very early. Sometimes on a Monday, nothing's open. Like you want to go to you're in like Italy and you want to go into a shop and it's just Monday and it's closed. Why? It's Monday. What do you mean it's closed because it's Monday? What kind of nonsense is this? We're Americans. We don't close shops on a Monday. So yeah, it's harder to get stuff done in Europe. Like you want to get certain errands run. Like the banks are open like 3 hours out of the entire week. Like there's not a whole lot you can do. So I do believe that convenience is something we do better in America than any other country on planet Earth, because you can always find something open, right? You need to go to a pharmacy 24 hours a day. You want to go through a drive-through, McDonald's never closes. In Europe, it's a lot spottier. Like there are certain hours during the day and certain days of the week where you're not going to find. They got a bunch of Chick-fil-A type businesses over there where they're just closed one day out of the week randomly. So we do that a lot better in the USA. So I don't want to make it sound like I'm going to go all in on Europe being better at everything, because we do convenience a lot better over here. But speaking of the 17-game season, I wanted to play this audio. You have that for me, Alex, from Kay Adams on Good Morning Football, which is such a good show. You notice nobody on Get Up would ever come up with a good idea like this. You got a bunch of knuckleheads on Get Up on ESPN, where on Good Morning Football, they come up with all the good ideas. Here's Kay Adams, who does a really good job there on how you solve the problem of the record books in a 17-game season.
I'm going to geek out because I like I like numbers. You know I like numbers. For years, I always bring up numbers to make points and back up what I'm saying ever on this show. I think, just let me geek out for a second here. The best way to solve what's happening and what this is going to be like, you have to sort of redefine the way you look at these records. So instead of looking at total yards, total touchdown, total rushing yards, maybe we have to start evaluating single season records on a per game basis.
Yes.
Let's think about this, right? You can then preserve the achievements of guys who did play 16, even 14 games, right, which we did prior to 1978. So instead of Peyton Manning's passing record being 5,477 yards, which it is, it's 342.3 yards per game. Keeps the record. It's just formatted differently. Just think about this. I'd like to know from Twitter what you think. I think you set the criteria that the player has to play a minimum of 14 games to be considered for that record, right? And then go from there. And then the cool part about it, guys, is that all those guys who lost their records as a result of all these previous schedule changes, they get to re-enter the conversation. Do you guys know who Oilers receiver Charlie Hennigan is?
Nope.
Hennigan's.
Okay, he averaged 124.7 yards a game during a 14-game season back in 1961. No one has topped that since. His record for total receiving yards in a season was broken by Jerry Rice and Calvin Johnson on 16-game schedules. No one has put up more yards per game, though, than Hennigan. To me, this would give him his record back, which you could really argue he shouldn't have even lost in the first place. So I like the per-game basis, just from a numbers perspective, because I can't handle another book of records.
Yeah. Or another quadratic formula. I don't know. There are people who are
I'm
allergic
terrible at math.
to decimals.
I don't think the NFL will ever do it, but it is a sensible idea, right? Because now that you're adding another regular season game, all these records, yardage, touchdown records, they're all going to get shattered because you have an extra game to shatter the records. But I'm a fan of what Kay Adams said, and I want to expand this to other things. Let me tell you a record that drives me crazy. Dollars made at the box office when you're talking movies. Inflation, bros. So Avengers made like $17 billion. Gone with the Wind sold like 6 billion tickets back in the 40s. That's the number one movie. Okay, you even go back, Alex. The cost. I did some research earlier today. The per ticket cost. In 1968. A ticket to the cinema was like $1.20. A ticket to the cinema these days, and I know that a lot of cinemas aren't open right now. Bear with me. Let's assume no pandemic. A ticket to the cinema in modern day, it's like $13 and like $18 if you go to an IMAX or a 3D. So Like, how can you compare if in 1968 it was $1.20 per ticket? What do I care what the box office dollar total is for a movie when you're paying $13.50 for a ticket? You should go by the number of tickets sold. Doesn't that make more sense? So, I mean, we need to come up with better ways to record these records.
Well, then the number of tickets sold, I think that'll be a bit skewed as well because the population, let alone America, when that movie,
that's fair.
Like a let's say like a really really old movie from like maybe let's say like the 40s or something like that. The population in America is definitely not the same from 1941 to 2021.
That's a good point. We got too many people these days.
Yeah. So, but like that's another thing that Kay was talking about, just another factor that plays into it. So I'm all in for what she was talking about. I think that's a good idea, and it brings older, records and older, players or older movies into this instance into the fold again.
All right, when we come back, we're going to bring in Michael Christian for the crossover as game night is coming up at 6 o'clock. Hey, Onside Radio understands gaming is a big part of the sports landscape. That's why every day we keep you updated with some of the latest gaming news with Onside Radio's E-Minute hosted by Toast, Kai, and Michael Christian. If you miss it, it's podcasted daily. Search Onside Radio on all platforms, subscribe, rate, and review. OnsideRadio.com, the station gamers call home.
The man of the match with South Florida's own Alex Donno. Weekdays 1 to 5 p.m. on the home for Inter Miami football. OnsideRadio.com.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can STEM, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can STEM, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
Ashiro's work is never done. You care for the house, the kids, and our future. We're so grateful for all you do. Now, it's time to care for yourself and save a little more for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to boost your retirement savings now. Visit aceyourretirement.org today.
A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Parents, we know we can't protect our kids from everything. Eventually, they're going to bump their heads or scrape their knees. But we can protect them from 6 types of cancer. HPV, or human papillomavirus, is a common preventable virus that can cause cancer later in life. The HPV vaccine prevents human papillomavirus and all the cancers it can cause. The American Cancer Society recommends getting your sons and daughters the HPV vaccine starting at age 9 to protect them later in life.
Join the Inter Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. You're listening to this station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com, broadcasting from South Florida to the world. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
So this is important. I was giving Oladipo a hard time for his head cold, but Ira Winterman tweeted out, Eric Spoelstra says Victor Oladipo has been cleared to go, has been working with Caron Butler at Arena. He is expected to play versus the Warriors on Thursday. So he's not playing tonight against Indiana, but he is going to play, expected to play at least, versus the Warriors tomorrow. So that is very good news. Let's bring on our friend Michael Christian here for the crossover. He hosts game night 6 to 7 o'clock every night. So, Michael, how excited are you now for the debut of Oladipo, as it looks like we're only a day away from it now?
I am so excited because, I've told you this before. I've wanted Victor Oladipo for so long. I was such a big fan of his when he came on The Masked Singer and was thingamajig. His singing was so powerful. I knew in that moment, if you can sing like that, I want you on my basketball team. And we finally made it happen, and my heart is so happy.
I love to hear that. It's a Weeb Wednesday today, correct? What do you plan on game night?
It is a Weeb Wednesday. We've got Royal A. Shepherd coming on. We're going to talk some anime with him, as well as maybe some Heat talk, but I don't know. He talks Heat all the time, so I'll try to get some different topics out of him. Also going to talk about the Miami Heat and this really cool article that was put out by Michael Pina from Sports Illustrated about how, the Heat are the team that nobody wants to face in the playoffs, which is very true. And we'll talk about the Miami Dolphins and certain recruits and certain people that are at their pro days, and everyone is saying, no, that 40 time isn't real. Oh, it is real. I'm not smart enough to know the truth, but if Kyle Pitts is running that fast, even though I'm not his biggest fan, it's hard to say no.
Yeah, so he ran, what was it, like a 4-4?
I think it was like a 4-4-3.
Yeah, 4-4-4. And and Jamar Chase ran a 4-3-8. So we're seeing and you're right. I see a lot of people trying to discredit these 40 times, but I'm pretty impressed. And I can't tell you because I've watched more pro day footage than I care to admit. I'm kind of a junkie for it. And listen, I can understand why you don't maybe go over the top for good pro days, but I do think if someone has a bad pro day, it's kind of alarming. And Mac Jones's pro day was a bit embarrassing, because you're supposed to have a good pro day, because especially for a quarterback, because you're throwing to your receivers, you're doing choreographed workouts, you should look great in your pro day. I think when you don't look great, that's the red flag.
Yeah, the pro day is supposed to be you've watched the tape, that player looked great. The pro day just solidifies what you already thought of them. With Mac Jones, it was just the complete opposite. Hey, it looks pretty good on tape, and then it was bad. I talked about it yesterday on my show. There's that clip that's going around the internet of Bill Belichick watching Mac Jones overthrow a wide receiver, and he immediately nods his head just nah, this ain't it. I love that clip. That was hilarious.
It's so good. I know Michael's going to have a great show. Make sure you listen 6 to 7 o'clock every night. Have a great show, man.
Hey, appreciate it, man. You have a good rest of your night.
I love it. So game night is coming your way next. Huge thanks to Alex Aguirre. Huge thanks to Tito Benach. Big thanks to Alfredo Arteaga, Dave Dwork, and Thomas Rongan for joining us today. Anything you missed, you can check it out on the podcast. Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, all the spots. We're on every platform. You are listening to the only locally owned sports station in South Florida. We are OnsideRadio.com.
OnsideRadio.com knows gamers need a home.
Can you dig it?
That's why for the next 60 seconds,
Can you count, suckers?
here's your Onside Radio E-Report with Toast.
Monday was a sad day for Call of Duty players as the anticipated shutdown of third-party stat site SBMM Warzone occurred. Activision sent the creators of the site a cease and desist demanding the website be shut down, citing privacy concerns. The website used the Call of Duty API to obtain player data, then provide useful statistics to players, and organize Warzone lobbies into skill-based ranks so players could see the overall skill level of the lobby they just played in. Because Warzone doesn't have a ranking system, players had flocked to SBMM Warzone in a bid to better understand Call of Duty's mysterious skill-based matchmaking system. And in most gamers' minds, that was the problem. They were doing a better job of providing a service than Activision was. Happy gaming.
Stay in touch in the world of gaming with the Onside Radio E-Report.
Now streaming online.
Onside Radio, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. You're listening to the flagship station of Inter Miami CF, OnsideRadio.com. Follow us on social media at Onside Radio.